and enjoy the action. What a match we have for you this evening. It's Rangers against Hibs with Neil McCann, John Collins and Liam McLeod.
4 weeks and 5 days have passed since the Premiership went into a hibernation, but it's back this evening ahead of another 5 fixtures to come on Saturday afternoon. Rangers against Hibs reboots season 22-23, and one of the powder keg fixtures on the calendar these days. Rangers against Hibernian. It's their second meeting this season after that dramatic 2-2 draw between them in August in Edinburgh, which saw Hibs fight back from behind twice after Tavernier's late first half penalty was cancelled out by Boyle not long after half time on his second Hibs debut. Lawrence put Rangers back in front before Lundstrom was wrongly sent off and Morelos was correctly sent off. Campbell salvaging a point late on against the 9 men. But Edinburgh's green and white. It is Glasgow's blue and white that kick off though. Right to left, attacking the Broome Lone Road end of the stadium. Bitterly cold nights, about -3 degrees Celsius at kick-off time, as Kamara moves it back to Lundstrom, who's playing at the back with James Sand. Rangers in the blue shirts, white shorts, black socks with the red tops. Hibs in there, green and white, shooting towards Copeland Road. John Collins.
So the first thing, observation, Porteous is playing in front of the back four. I don't know if he's ever played that position before, but again, brave decision from the manager. Porteous is following Kent about the pitch. It's going to be an interesting contest.
Oh, it's like a man marking job, Liam, but I tell you, it's very different. I've seen really good centre-backs step in onto the game, but when you're standing in there and there's boys running off your back, it's a very different game. It's a big call from Lee Johnson, I tell you.
The smoke from the pyrotechnics billowing onto the roof of the stand off to our left as Hibs clear through. Kyle McGuinness back in the side, and Hibs have used the month-long shutdown to get a few players back. Of course, Kevin Nisbet in the starting 11 for the first time since February. First appearance, 9 goals last season, 18 the season before. As the long ball is played forward by Rangers, Chabraya's onto it over there, and he rolls it low back to his goalkeeper David Marshall, going up against his one-time Scotland colleague Alan McGregor, 2 mainstays in the international team over the last couple of decades, as that's moved out for a throw-in to Hibs over on that far side. It's 4 changes in the Hibs lineup from their last match, which was the defeat to Kilmarnock. Rangers drew with St Mirren. 2 changes in the lineup for them from that match, which proved to be Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's final act as Rangers manager, as David Marshall boots it clear with the right foot, and again it goes into touch this time for a Rangers throw-in on the far side. 0-0, almost 2 in.
Liam, John pointed out very early there about Porteous, and I did think that Sakala would partner Morelos up top. That's exactly how it is, and Kent's got a wee free roll, so he'll just sit on the shoulder at times of Porteous, which again it's going to give him a lot of trouble. Tillman will be allowed to go and get in touch with Sakala as well. So I mean, this is a tactical battle already, looking at it shape-wise. 2 very, very different type shapes. It'll be interesting to see who imposes the game.
A big night for Adam Devine, the 19-year-old at left back. He's primarily a right back. He's playing on the left to skip it over on the other side as John Lundstrom comes across halfway. Plays it short to Glenn Kamara, who moves it to Jack, who plays it back to Sands. He's immediately under pressure from Eli Huan, but it's cleared by Sands. Long ball, Morelos gets goal side of Bushiri, goes down at the edge of the box. Flag's gone up on the far side anyway. An offside is given. Alfredo Morelos with just his second league start of the campaign. Such has been the form of missing man Antonio Colak, who is nowhere to be seen this evening, and he's been so important for Rangers, particularly in the games here at Ibrox, in matches where they perhaps haven't been at their free-flowing best. He has broken the deadlock at important times. He's done it away from home, of course, as well, perhaps most notably in Eindhoven, but he's a big loss for them. Morelos, though, just how long has he got left as a Rangers player in that jersey? We'll find out in the weeks to come when the winter window opens next month. Perhaps we'll get more clarity on it then, as Rocky Bushiri and the referee Nick Walsh have a conversation. I think the challenge is being checked just now by the VAR this evening, who's Alan Muir.
It's a really interesting system Rangers are playing. The 2 fullbacks are giving them the width high up, which leaves 2 central defenders only. So if Hibs win the ball, Johan's got terrific pace. If Hibs win it, instantly they've got to try and play the ball into the fullback areas where the fullbacks aren't sitting, and try and pull one of those central defenders wide.
But already you can see 4 minutes in, Rocky Bushiri under pressure from Morelos. It's not what he wants tonight. Doesn't want to be facing his own goal.
There's a bit of bother here, Liam. Just David Marshall's gone to Nick Walsh to say that there's things on the pitch. I mean, they look bright yellow, a luminous yellow. I'm not quite sure what they are. They look pretty hard, don't they, when Marsh is throwing them off, and now the ground staff's been asked to remove them as well. Not quite sure what they were.
You can't tell from here. They're smaller than golf balls anyway. Just kind of little luminous pellets that seem to come from the Broomloan end.
I'm not sure if they were aimed at David Marshall, because they're it seemed to be on the outsides of the posts. So, but he's wanting them removed anyway before the game restarts. But on that, Morelos, I thought Morelos was touch and go, whether he was onside or not. I know VR would have proved that to be the case had we had any debate and would have gone back to it. But he went down easy, and I didn't think he needed to go down, John, immediately with Bashiri.
I'd like to see him trying to stay on his feet more,
just stay up,
use his strength.
He's got a big game ahead of him tonight, because he's one of those guys that you speak about that Mick Beale needs to get in contact with and re-energise if he stay here to the end of the season and stay in the team.
Rangers cannot afford to drop any points. Hibs looking to move up from 8th in the table, which is where they are right now, and they are eager to ensure that they don't suffer the same disappointing campaign as they did last term, as Rangers pick up the ball in the midfield after that lengthy stoppage. Ryan Kent's under pressure, wins the free kick off Nisbet. It's in the centre circle. Rangers unbeaten in 16 league games against Hibs. Of course, there was that fabulous Martin Boyle inspired League Cup semi-final victory for Hibernian last season, but in the league, without a win over Rangers in 16. The last one was actually here, February 2018. McGinn and McLaren sealed a 2-1 victory as Rangers come down the right with Tavernier crossing in. Morelos, it's beaten him, drops to Sakala. Rocky Bushiri gets it away, scuffed clearance, but he's found Campbell, who finds the pacey Yuan, who's driving at Sands. He wins it back for Rangers, moves it into the midfield and gives it straight to Nisbet. Now it's with Newell, pumps it left to right of the centre circle, where McGuinness gets onto it. Up into the air it goes, Kamara gets the touch onto it, and the loose ball breaks Chris Cadden's way down the right, taking on Devine. Level with the Rangers penalty spot here. Devine slides in and puts it out for a throw into Hibs. That'll do his confidence no harm at all. 6 minutes in, 0-0.
I thought Cadden had the chance to throw a cross in. He's got wonderful delivery from wide areas as well. Maybe just didn't have enough ammunition.
Here he is,
in the box to hit.
Back to McGuinness, first time right foot cross ball in, flicked away by Tillman, only as far as Yuan, controls the edge of the box, he shoots, and McGregor tips it over the crossbar. He's off his goal line there, he's about 4 yards from his goal. It was dipping over his head under his bar, and he threw out the right hand to put it away for the corner.
It's a terrific delivery, first into the box, comes out to Johan, one touch to control it, second touch, whips it in, good strike. In fairness, it's good height for the goalkeeper, but it's a good strike.
Yeah, it was difficult for him because he was off his line, wasn't he, as that came towards him. First corner of the game, and it goes Hibs' way on this main stand side. Joe Newell with his arms in the air, left-footed in, swinging delivery coming up here, the Copeland Road end. And it comes into the 6-yard area, free header, goal, Porteous! Ryan Porteous bullets the header past McGregor and wheels away to the other end of the stadium to celebrate with the 900 Hibernian supporters who are in raptures here. 7 minutes in, it's a wonderful moment for Porteous, it's a wonderful moment for Hibs, but it's a nightmare start for Michael Beale in the home dugout here at Ibrox, but it's Rangers 0, Hibernian 1.
First thing, it's a fantastic delivery, in swinger, just outside the 6-yard box. Porteous rises superbly, times it magnificently, bullets the header in. Great start for Hibs.
Yeah, it's a wonderful delivery, and it is quite a brilliant header from Porteous. He's such a threat. He's so powerful in the air. He gets himself into a really good position in the centre of the goal. But then you flip it over. This has been an Achilles heel for Rangers in the past, in terms of set pieces and conceding from them. I know under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst they went a zonal, it didn't work, then they went a kind of half mix. You can't expect Hibs' biggest threat, along with Bashiri and Hanley, but Porte's been the most aggressive, to be spare in the middle of the 6-yard box.
I'm going to ask you a question. Should your goalkeeper be coming and taking that? Because too often nowadays goalkeepers just stand on the line.
I'm not so sure, John. It's whipped in. I know you used to take set pieces as I did. That's got great pace, great delivery. But I tell you what shouldn't happen. The centre-back standing unmarked to have a free header off his forehead into the back of the net.
It's an early Christmas present for Ryan Porteous. Oh, it's a back pass which Sakala puts pressure on. Marshall gets the break off Sakala, and it's a goal kick. So Hibs get away with one there. Jamie McAllister immediately out to the edge of his technical area down here, the Hibs assistant.
That was a terrible pass back from Kabraja to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was a touch of luck for David Marshall, because he He wouldn't have appreciated seeing the ball coming blundering back to him like that. 9 minutes in, it's Hibs with the lead, and Ryan Porteous with his third goal of the season. He's a wanted man, of course. Clubs south of the border, clubs abroad as well, if you believe the reports, are all interested in Ryan Porteous' services as he enters the final 6 months of his Hibs contract, as Sakala's chopped to the ground down on this near side by McGuinness. Rangers free kick, about 10 yards from this main stand side touchline. Rangers 0, Hibs 1. It will be Adam Devine to take the free kick quickly back to Lundstrom. New manager, same old problems for Rangers though, as Kent steps away from Cadden, who slips. Now it's Kent towards the box, he's gone down. Nick Walsh says no free kick. Hibs will come away with it with Porteous, who also goes down, and he does get the free kick. And Nick Walsh jogging away despite the protests from the Rangers captain Tavernier. Kent going to ground too easily according to the official, as we hit 10 minutes at Ibrox with the scoreline Rangers 0, Hibs 1.
I thought it was a free kick, but I actually thought Nick Walsh played advantage. And then when it came to Sakala, I tried a little flick. I'm not sure, could they have brought it back? I don't think so, because Sakala had lost possession, and then Porteous is dragged to the ground. I tell you, for a young guy, Porteous has got some gamesmanship on him.
He loves games against Rangers, doesn't he?
And he bought that free kick just to take the pressure off. Such a smart young guy, you know, but he's playing in such an alien position. I mean, what a start to the game for him.
I think it was his TV interview after the League Cup semi last season went viral, and continues to appear on social media platforms every now and again. He'll have enjoyed that goal as Tavernier takes the throw into chat, back to Tavernier off Ewan and out for a Rangers throw. It was Ewan's effort from the edge of the box that forced the corner, that forced the goal. As Tavernier takes the short throw into Kent, who's popped up wide in the Rangers right for now.
The challenge for Ryan Porteous in that position, you've got to stay on your feet. Don't lunge in, you take yourself out of the game. So that's a challenge for him, because he does have a bad habit of sliding in.
Well, he did it here, didn't he, last season? Sent off as Devine rolls it back to John Lundstrom. 11 minutes in. Hibs making the best possible start to proceedings. Here come Rangers though. Tillman floats the ball in, way too close to David Marshall, who'll claim unchallenged around about his penalty spot there. Marshall, who in the infancy of his Celtic career had a man of the match performance here at Ibrox in an Old Firm game, which came off the back of an equally impressive performance in the Nou Camp against Barcelona. As that goes out of play on this near side for a Hibs throw-in for Chris Cadden to take. Lee Johnson must be absolutely delighted.
I think Hibs must have got Rangers' team well in advance to know that Kent was in there, to put Porteous in there. It'd be interesting where that's came from. I don't think he would just have popped Ryan Porteous in the middle of the pitch.
Well, they played like that against Leverkusen, John,
right.
So he's done his homework, obviously.
Here come Hibs again. Kyle McGuinness down the right-hand side of the Rangers box. He's a bit level with the penalty spot. Support from Cadden. Burrows his way down the line and wins the throw-in off John Lundstrom. This is another uncomfortable evening potentially here for the Rangers supporters. It's gone out for a Hibs throw-in down in this near side, and Chris Cadden eventually retrieving the ball and making his way to the touchline. McGuinness comes short. He's got Campbell making a move round about the right of the box. He's found Porteous, who shoots over the bar, and he's gone down as well. He was caught late there. Now this will be very interesting. He looked as though he was caught, or at least he caught Tillman, or Tillman caught him.
I think he
struck it. Catches him, is it?
It's a follow through. It's not. I think it's him hitting the Rangers player. I don't think it's a Rangers player fouling him. But
again, he stepped into an area. I know Cadden's got a long throw. He stepped in there unopposed. He ran off of fashion Sakala.
He caught it sweet. It was a half volley.
Yep. And as Tillman comes across, I think more than anything, he's just caught him on the follow through.
1 win in 7 for Hibs. 6 of them have been defeats. It's been a wretched run for them. It's a situation that's put them into the bottom half of the table. 5 points behind third placed Aberdeen, having played a game more than the Dons, who Rangers play next after this one. That's next Tuesday evening. This fixture was brought forward to the Thursday evening as Tillman makes his way off for a little bit of treatment, but confirmation there that it was Porteous on Tillman rather than the other way around, as Porteous' effort went well over the bar. He popped up in a really nice area, actually, right-hand side of the penalty box, and Alan McGregor was delighted to see him lash it high into the stand off to our right. McGregor with the short goal kick to Lundstrom, who's playing as the left centre-back. Sands to the right. Sands has been deputising in there most of this season, but on the left side where Lundstram is tonight, that's popped into Jack, who was back first time to Lundstram. 14 minutes in, Rangers 0, Hibs 1. As Hibs look to try and find a very rare victory over Rangers. Their last 4 wins over Rangers have actually come in Glasgow, twice at Ibrox, twice at Hampden. Here at Ibrox, Rangers 1 down, and it's Tillman, right hand side of the Hibs box. He's gone to ground, no free kick. Hibs will play on. The Rangers fans are incensed with that decision. Eli Yuan on the left hand side. Good defending by Sands, wins it back on the halfway line. Jack for Tavernier, pumps it forward, headed away by Hanlon. Only as far as Tillman, edge of the box, Kent slips it to Sakala, he's inside the box on the left foot. Goal! The first goal of the Beale era comes from Facet Sakala, who tries to whip up the Rangers supporters as well as he celebrates the equaliser, firing it on the left-hand side with the left boot into the bottom reverse right-hand corner, past David Marshall, and it's Rangers 1, Hibernian 1.
Well, there's the answer back from Facet Sakala, playing up there on his left-hand side of Morelos. I mean, it's quite a direct ball into the box, and Mick Beale's his shape change tonight has caused that. Ryan Kent playing that little 10, I thought he might have hit it, John, when it came to him. In fact, a lot of the fans in here were probably begging for him to hit it. He rolled it to Sakala, and when he steadied himself, so often he's been rash and quite clumsy in his finishing, but this time he gets his body over it, head down, and smashes it through Captain.
Up the other end, here comes Nisbet! Go Hibs! Hibs back in front in seconds, and Kevin Nisbet announces his arrival back from injury in the best possible way. Ibrox silenced again, apart from the Hibs fans up the other end of the stadium who can't believe it. The most extraordinary minute of Scottish football this season as Kevin Nisbet fires it high past Alan McGregor into the top right bin. It is Rangers 1, Hibernian 2.
That is a superb finish. He's made a great run in behind the central defender. The ball's played through, it's bounced up nicely for him. He's hit it clean as a whistle. Burst the net. Great strike.
Outside of the boot, John, finish, but I mean, there's the highlights. The Rangers get back in it. I'm talking about it really on what Mick Beale's trying to do here, but there's what I'm talking about before the game, about a lack of a natural centre-back, John.
Yes.
Both Sands and Lundstram not recognised centre-backs. They should have pulled everybody in, get your full-back in. The Hibs are taking it. They didn't reorganise out of that equaliser, and I tell you what, it's a quite brilliant finish from a kid that's been through the ringer recently, so I mean, he'll be delighted with that.
That's what Hibs have been missing, John, right there from Kevin Nisbet.
That's what.
Here they come again. Eli Ewan almost through. McGregor comes from his own penalty area to boot clear. Long ball. Now Sakala battling with Bushiri. Sakala has it. It's blocked. It almost fell Morelos' way, and it's cleared to safety by Hanlon.
I think we might have got a few goals more tonight, the way this game's shaping up.
17 minutes played, 3 goals in it. Here's Morelos. Fires it low across. Cleared by Hibs. Only as far as Malik Tillman. Stabbing it to Kamara, back to Lundstram, low ball out to Devine. Important period this for Hibs, looking to hold on to their lead here. Devine drops the shoulder, plays it back across. Porteous shanks it behind for the corner. Rangers 1, Hibs 2.
Good play from Devine. He's got in there, he's up to Carden, thought one thing in his mind, can I knock it past him, get to the byline, get a delivery in the box. Carden's got to do better, he's got to stop the crosses coming in.
Yeah, a couple of moments before I thought Sakala should have just rolled Morelos. Morelos was offside, comes out of the game. Sakala's got a body with Bashiri. This game is playing at frenetic pace.
Rangers corner taken by Tavernier into the box, headed away on the 6-yard line, and the referee blows the whistle, and that's a Hibs free kick because Josh Campbell's gone down at the angle of the 6-yard box under a challenge from Ryan Jack. 18 minutes in, Rangers 1, Hibs 2. The Hibs fans are bouncing over there.
And so they should be. The reality is Rangers have got 3 of their back 4 are not regulars, so Hibs have got to try and exploit that. Nisbet's got to try and make penetrating runs all day long. Midfielders, when they get the ball, they've got to look for Nisbet. Johan's got pace on the other side as well.
You said though, John, you pointed out quite rightly, I mean, particularly James Tavernier, as Mick Beale was talking before the game about, we need to let James be who James is, and that means advancing up, that means gaps in there, and Nisbet's clever. He might have been out of the game for a long time, but he doesn't forget he's playing in that little channel.
That's a wonderful goal from Nisbet. As McGuinness goes back to his goalkeeper, and Marshall under pressure from both Morelos and Sakala boots it high into the Glasgow sky. It drops down Tavernier's way, sliced clearance onto halfway, goes straight to McGuinness. Cushion header, Cadden to Porteous. He gets it back to Chris Cadden on this near side, taking on Kamara. Breathless stuff at Ibrox. It normally is in this fixture. They shared 4 goals, 2 red cards for Rangers in the game at Easter Road back in August. As Cadden keeps it in play on the near side, headed away by Sands. Is Porteous. Gets it with the left foot the second time of asking, but straight to Jack. Now it's Kent 3-on-3. Here's Ryan Kent, rolls it to Morelos, just behind him, but he still has it. Morelos, he shoots high over the bar, good couple of feet over, and it stays Rangers 1, Hibs 2 on 19.5 minutes here.
There's a prime example, Ryan Kent. It's decision making is key, what makes you a top player and not a top player. He's picked that ball and he's played it too early. He's got to drive with the ball, draw a Hibs player towards him, and then pass by penetrating past the advancing Hibs player. Again, simple details he has to work on.
Yeah, defining moments. I mean, he picked up a little pocket. You can see there that Porteous in that holding row in midfield. He was slashing about at it, you know, just swinging the foot where there's no finesse to bring it down, get his head up. He makes a mess of it and it finds a little pocket into Kent. And 3v3, Liam, that's the sort of thing you do in training exercises. Kent just didn't commit.
Well, the 2 Hibs goals are the 7th and 8th time that Rangers have gone behind in the Premiership this season. Found an answer more often than not. As Morelos plays it off Cadden and out of play, but it's going to be a Hibs ball on this near side.
What a 20 minutes.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah, welcome back to the Premiership.
Who needs a World Cup, Liam?
Exactly. And there's a free kick to Hibs to be taken by Cadden here. Lee Johnson and Jamie McAllister down in front of us. We're just to the left of the halfway line, right on top of the Hibs dugout. Cadden being encouraged unpolitely to get on with it by the Rangers supporters. He dinks it down the right-hand side. Devine wins it back off Campbell. Now it's Jack to Sands. Plays it across his own box for Lundstrom. Not ideal for Rangers. That is an area of the pitch they really need to be getting sorted, is the centre-back positions. Yes, there's injuries. Helander, Goldson, Suter, and Ben Davies is on the bench tonight, but it has been an issue for them all season long. As that goes out onto the right-hand side for Tavernier, he chips it forward, but it's pretty aimless. And it was right through to Gibraya, who's got Marshall as an option. He's maybe a little bit spooked after the last time he tried to do it. He has eventually gone back to Marshall, who clears. We're approaching the end of the first quarter of this, and Hibs are enjoying a lead in Glasgow against Rangers here. Here is Yuan, just knocking it back to Gibraya, left-footed dink ball forward, chasing after it down that left-hand side is Campbell, but it's played back to his goalkeeper by Sands at the expense of a corner. Yeah, not sure what he's expecting Alan McGregor to do with that.
No, I think he's apologised there, but again, it's that channel we spoke about. Tavernier's high. Sands is out there. He's not comfortable. I know he's done well in the past. I'm not going to have a go at the boy, but he's not a comfortable centre back that wants to go out there into the wide positions. And Hibs, if it's Campbell that time, if it's not him, it's Yuan or Nisbet. It's just operating and loitering in there. Yeah,
and Hibs have a corner here. They scored their opening goal from their last one. It's another in-swinger, this time to the left from McGuinness. It's headed away this time by Morelos. McGuinness will let it go out for a throw-in over on the far side, midway inside Rangers territory.
Again, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news to Rangers fans, but Porteous is spare again. That's a concern for me, Liam. I mean, they've already succumbed to Porteous having a free header to open the scoring. He shouldn't be spare again.
But you know the reality, Neil, nowadays with the new rules, it's much easier for attacking players to get away from defenders. You can't block, you can't pull jerseys like the old days. Yeah, so it's easier. Once a player gets in front of you, you can't get back to them. In the old days, you pulled them, tucked them. So if you get good deliveries, you'll score so many more goals nowadays than you would have 10 years ago.
Hibs have generally been good front runners when they've gone in front in the league this season. Before this one, of the 7 times they've gone in front of the league, they've only been pegged back once. That was St Johnstone, who came from behind to beat them 2-1 at Easter Road in October. Of course, they have been pegged back this evening, but it took them just seconds to rediscover the lead. As Porteous and Nisbet scored either side of Sakala to give Hibs a 2-1 lead, and Rangers have a free kick. Kent's gone to ground just outside the centre circle, to the right of centre, in the Hibs half.
Did you see that as a foul, John?
No, I thought that was a 50-50 and Porteous just got up above him.
He's won it well, actually, when you see the replay.
So aggressive.
Well, that's his strength. but it's such an important part of being a football player is you've got to have that controlled aggression.
Devine for Rangers with the cross from the left, headed clear by Chibraya. Lundstrom trying to keep it alive here, recycling it, but only as far as McGuinness, who clears, and out it goes for a throw into Rangers on this near side. 24 minutes played, Rangers 1, Hibs 2 here on Sportsound. The return of the Premiership season 22-23 after a more than month-long hiatus. It is Rangers in possession with Sands. It's full pelt, by the way, full throttle between now and the start of June when the Scottish Cup final is played. And you'll get it all here on BBC Radio Scotland, on Sounds, on Extra, on 810 medium wave, on FM as well at the weekends, as Sands picks up and just moves across halfway and rolls it out to the left for Kamara. Forward to Kent, and evades Kent, goes through to Cadden, he goes back to Bushiri, who plays it short out to the right for Chris Cadden. Cadden now has it into his stride against Sakala, down he goes, so it's free kick.
There's a perfect example of what Ryan Kent's going to get better at, and if Rangers want to win leagues. Kent got a bad pass to him, he just went past him, and what he should have done, instantly try and make it a good pass, press, but he stood still as if to say, that's a bad pass, that's your fault, I'm not going to try and win it. Wrong attitude, wrong mindset.
Hibs having lost 6 of the last 7, when you look at their last 7 away games, they've also lost 6 of those out of 7. Form at Easter Road generally has been okay, not bad. As Lundstrom pops it forward, it comes off the head of Tillman, and it's cleared by the left boot of Chibraya. Lundstrom gets his toe onto it, but it's out of play for a throw in on the far side of Hibs. A little bit of a lull in proceedings right now. Might suit Hibs a little bit better given they have the edge at the moment. 25.5 minutes in, they enjoy a 2-1 lead. And it's a long clearance which is headed forward by Lundstrom to halfway, but Newell gets onto it. Newell, who set up Porteous for the opener, goes back to Porteous, who knocks it forward, looking for the chaser, who's Ewan. Tavernier gets there first, goes back to his goalkeeper, and Alan McGregor clears with the right boot. Bouncing ball on the halfway line, header from Porteous, comes off Tillman's head this time. Morelos flicks on, the header from Rocky Bashiri out to that left hand side. It's picked up here by Chibraya. He's in the Rangers half, level with the edge of the centre circle over the Govan Sandy Jardine stand side of the stadium on the far side, as Ewan tries to cross it into the box. It's come off a Rangers defender, and behind for Hibs' third corner of the evening. They lead 2-1 on 26.
It's very evident Lee Johnson's told his players any opportunity to get balls played behind Rangers back four, he's asking Ewan to make runs in behind. He's not wanting him coming short, and it's putting Rangers back four under pressure. They're not looking comfortable at all.
Corner to be taken here by Kyle McGuinness. Over on that left-hand side, the Hibs left, right-footed, in swing, and in it comes again. McGregor beats it away at his near post. Kent chases, Newell's going to get there, wonderful slide challenge, he's got it back to McGuinness wide on the left. McGuinness crosses, Ewan helps it on its way with the head, and it's collected by McGregor on his 6-yard line. There's some serious dissent or discontent within the home stands, you can understand that right now, as Hibs come forward again with Cadden down the right. Cadden up against Devine, Devine reacts well, finds Sands, calmly done actually, then Sands to Jack, to Kamara on this near side, flicked forward to Kent, now back with Ryan Jack. That midway inside his own half, bends the ball out to James Tavernier on that right hand side. 27 played, 2-1 to Hibs at Ibrox. Here comes Morelos down that right hand side. He's got some support from Tavernier, moves it towards Tavernier, he's at the byline, but it's shepherded behind expertly by Joe Newell, and it stays Rangers 1, Hibs 2, 27.5 on the clock.
Yeah, really good covering from Joe Newell there. Morelos came inside, he started wide, held his width, and when he went in and looked at Tavernier, I think he hesitated just enough to allow Joe Newell just to get back and make the challenge and put him out. But I'm looking at Lee Johnson, what he's done here, because he's since the start of the game he's slightly just tinkered ever so slightly, putting Josh Campbell up, almost sitting on Ryan Jack. Nisbet's virtually playing through it himself, and Ewan's playing in that little left channel, and it might only be a fine detail, but what it's doing is he's trying to stop Tavernier from bombing forward and equally providing an attacking threat in the wide right position.
Great challenge, Porteous on Tillman. Tillman's looking for a free kick. He's not getting one because it was a great challenge, and Porteous is back onto it. He slipped it to the left. Here's Josh Campbell moving to the edge of the box. He decides to shoot, and he hits the side net. It ripples the net. The Hibs fans up the other end might have thought they'd scored a third goal there. Hibs opening up Rangers, so easily there, and it stays Rangers 1, Hibs 2.
Superb play from Porteous, middle of the pitch, winning it, playing a really good pass forward. Hibs are looking dangerous.
Right now the World Cup break's done Hibs the world of good. They lead 2-1, could have been 3. Campbell, they got the late equaliser against 9-man Rangers in Edinburgh back in the late summer. As Sands plays it left to right of the centre circle for Lundstrom, into the Hibs half to the right there for Tavernier, who plays it back to Lundstrom, right of the centre circle, looks up, looking to play the long ball to the edge of the box, too high for Sakala, headed away by Cadden, only as far as Jack. Sakala helps it on its way, looking for Morelos, away by Hanlon. Sakala didn't know where it was, and it's booted clear by Chibrai up towards halfway. Yuan putting the pressure on Lundstrom, who's wanting a free kick, he's not getting one. Chibrai's header back up to the halfway line. Eli Yuan now up against Lundstrom, but it goes out of play for a Rangers throw-in. It is 2-1 to Hibs. We're approaching the half-hour mark here at Ibrox on this bitterly cold night in Glasgow, south of the River Clyde here, as Adam Devine crosses the halfway line on this left-hand side with the outside of the boot. He finds Kamara. Bushiri gets there ahead of Morelos and puts it out for a Rangers throw-in, level with the edge of the D of the Hibs box on the main stand side.
Needless throw-in given away with Bushiri. It's a nice simple pass back to his goalkeeper. I don't know why he doesn't just pass it back, kicks out the pitch, gives Rangers needless possession.
There's Morelos getting it from Devine, midway inside the Hibs half he is, plays it back into the centre circle for Lundstrom, who arches the ball out to the right for Tavernier. Tavernier will win the corner. Rangers have their first corner, it comes off Yuan, it's going to be taken by Tavernier right in front of the Hibs fans over on that far side. Half an hour in, Rangers 1, Hibs 2. An out-swinging delivery coming up here from the Rangers captain. Tavernier looking to hit a blue shirt here. Arm in the air now, he prepares to take out swing out with the right foot, headed clear there by Nisbet. And as far as Glenn Kamara, who'll collect midway inside Hibs territory, out to the right for Kent, back to Kamara. Kamara forward to Tillman. Tillman out to Kent. Patient from Rangers. Kent now shaping to cross. Then he decides to take his man on, which he does brilliantly. Rolls it back towards the penalty spot, looking for Lundstrom. Hibs clear. Devine keeps it alive. Here's Sands out to the left of the box for Sakala, the Rangers scorer, dropping the shoulder, showing way too much of it to Paul Hanlon though, and that meant that the Hibs veteran was able to get it half clear. Sakala wins it back on this near side, rolls it back to Sands. Now Jack with the disguised reverse, Morelos with the flick. The challenge comes from Campbell. Now it's Devine. Hibs hanging on a little bit here. 31 in, they lead 2-1. They're protecting that lead. Here's Ryan Jack marauding forward. Out to the right, he goes with the pass out to Tavernier. Tavernier takes a touch, right-footed, cross comes in. It's too close to David Marshall, who holds on in the 6-yard area. And it stays Rangers 1, Hibs 2. The last full-time Rangers manager to lose his first competitive match was the then player manager Graham Souness, but he was sent off against tonight's opponents after an infamous altercation with Hibs Stuart Beattie and then George McCluskey. Beattie scored in a 2-1 Hibs victory. John, were you involved in that one?
I remember it well. I was injured, unfortunately. I was sitting in the stand watching it. A memorable day for the High Bees.
It's the last time a full-time Rangers manager lost his first match in charge competitively. Michael Beale at the moment as it stands will do just that. Still plenty of time for Rangers, but they need to get the engine running. It's been the same issues. They've been knocking it about okay, and they've been getting up to the final third, but it's what they're doing in the final third that isn't good enough right now for them. Hibs defending well, though, to be fair to them, as Jack finds Kent out wide left of the Hibs box for Devine. Good ball, intelligent, finds Tillman, goes to ground. Optimistic appeals for a penalty from some of the Rangers supporters as Hibs clear, and Lee Johnson urging his players to move forward.
They're starting to drop, aren't they? Hibs are starting to drop in at this shape. I spoke about the little tinker from Lee Johnston.
Yeah, Rangers down the right, Tavernier, low ball, Sakala tried to usher it into the path of Morelos. Sakala gets it back now, Tavernier. Here's Jack, Hibs very deep here. Out to the right it comes, Sakala, and it's right across the face of David Marshall's goal. They're out for a throw-in on the reverse main stand side. Marshall says he didn't get a touch to it, and there appears to be Nick Walsh agreeing with him because it's a Hibs throw-in on this near side. 33 played, Rangers 1, Hibs 2.
I think this is the first time in the game Rangers really pinned them in a little bit. They're going to try and get a hold of the ball. Danger sitting back.
16 times Hibs have tried to get a victory over Rangers in league business, and 16 times they've failed. There have been some draws in there. There's that League Cup success last November. And of course, with what you take with one hand, you give with the other, and Kevin Nisbet coming in for Martin Boyle, who was the hero on that occasion at the National Stadium. Nisbet's goal has Hibs in front right now. Here is Devine for Rangers though, now Kent. Forward to Tillman, the challenge from Cadden, the ref didn't like it, and Rangers have a free kick round about the left angle of the Hibs box. A chance to swing this right in on top of that Hibs defence, which was very leaky before the break.
Yeah, they'll get plenty of height though, I would say. I mean, you wouldn't expect them to lose. Nisbet's decent, you've got Newell, Bashiri, Porteous, Hanlon. I mean, there's a decent line there that can take in a wee zonal line here along the penalty spot. Tavernier Renault will just look to whip it right over Chris Cadden, who's the first man of that zone.
Yeah, there's an opportunity then for Rangers. Tavernier with the right, or Kent with the left on this near side. Tavernier with the right into the back post area. Bushiri heads it away, only as far as Sakala. Sakala rolling it towards Tavernier. Wasn't much in the pass. Tavernier makes it work. Back to Kent, swings it in first time with the left foot, and it's cleared. Down goes Morelos. Again, the roar from the Rangers supporters.
Yeah, I know why, because Paul Hanlon's got a lot of Alfredo Morelos. It's that little thing you're talking about, John, about contact in the box.
Yep.
Paul Hanlon has got two hands wrapped around Alfredo Morelos, not allowing him to jump.
VAR should be watching that. That's what they're there for.
Ryan Porteous headed Hibs into the lead. Rangers equalising through Fashion Sakala. Was cancelled out within a minute though, with Kevin Nisbet restoring the Hibs lead straight from kickoff. Astonishing period of play as Lundstrom picks it up and rolls it to his left for Kent. 10 minutes from the break, 2-1 to Hibs. It's Rangers in possession. Devine rolling it to the left angle of the box for Sakala, up against Cadden. He rolls it back to Lundstrom, who finds Kamara. Right to John Lundstrom. I think that Rangers team in the baking heat of Seville, that Europa League final, a penalty or so away from winning a European trophy. Here they are on one of the coldest nights of the year, frozen out by Hibernian. They just cannot break through right now. There's Porteous to Newell, who clears. Porteous and Newell are going to have important jobs to play if Hibs are going to try and sit in this lead. Pulled forward here, the left-hand side for Morelos, up against Joe Newell, who's trying to prevent a corner here. He hasn't managed that. It's a corner to Rangers. They really are pressing Hibs right back against the ropes here. 36 played, Rangers 1, Hibs 2.
Yeah, they're asking questions, but I have to say, Hibs are really competing. There is gaps there, and they're tired because they're working so hard, but they are making it really competitive.
Tavernier to take then. He's taking it short to Kent. Tavernier offers himself. Disguised ball by Kent's good. Here's Kamara, who shoots, blocked. Breaks back Kent's way, left-hand side of the penalty area. Kent on the near side. He's overcooking it again though. He's away from one. Oh, he's done brilliantly. He was fouled, but play on, advantage. Here's Jack, finds Tillman inside the penalty area. Back to the edge for Tavernier. His shot's blocked. Breaks Sakala's way. Touches it back to Sands. I think the ref might revisit that challenge in just a moment. Here is Sakala wide on the right-hand side. He's got support from Morelos. Goes down by Newell. Down he goes. No free kick this time. Newell plays it forward down the left-hand side, cut out by Lundstrom. Here come Rangers again. This has been their best spell of the game. It's Devine to Lundstrom on the right of the centre circle. Forward it goes. Blocked by Chabraya though. Good challenging. Here's Kevin Nisbet. Out to McGuinness. And now it's with Cadden. Cadden moving up towards halfway. McGuinness ahead of him. Still it's Chris Cadden up against Glenn Kamara on the near side, right in front of Michael Beale, who stands hands in jacket pockets. It's out of play on this near side for a Hibs throw, and out comes the card for that previous challenge by Kyle McGuinness on this near side, and Ryan Kent. He completely wiped him out, and I'm pretty sure that McGuinness would have been expecting that.
Yeah, no complaints. He goes with his left, doesn't catch him, but then it's a little follow through, almost like a kind of standing scissor action. No question, a yellow card. It was a good little period of really determined play from Ryan Kent.
It's interesting, they've been doing this at the World Cup as well with the World Feed television pictures, and that they are showing on the monitors, the in-stadium monitors, controversial incidents. Normally that McGuinness challenge wouldn't have been replayed on the big screens. It was there, and you could hear the Rangers supporters gasping as they watched the replay of McGuinness scything into Kent.
It's handy for us when we don't have monitors, Liam, if we're getting the odd wee replay.
Yeah. There is a reason they don't show them, and that is to try and keep the supporters as calm as possible as we go into the final 7 minutes of the first half of the regulation 45. Rangers 1, Hibs 2, and a foul throw's been given there, I think, by Cadden. Rangers throw, Devine takes, he bowls it back to Sands. James Sands then squaring it to Lundstrom. Hibs hanging on a little bit here, John.
They are. They're sitting back. They're giving the ball away too easily. Rangers are now starting to control the game more. Hibs have lost their threat. If I was Rangers, I would be moving Kent wide. I've got to be honest. Hibs fullbacks will be absolutely delighted that they're being faced by Devine. Hibs right back. Who do you want to be faced up against 1v1 in the wide area? Ryan Kent or a fullback? I think a big wide pitch. Hibs in front of you, want to use the width of the pitch and stretch the Hibs back four. Kent sitting in there. I think Hibs will be delighted he's in there.
Hibs are 8 visits to Ibrox without a victory. 1 draw, 7 defeats in that run. Here they are in the box seat. There's Jack on this near side. Squares it short to Kent. Now he's going through the gears. He's worked the 1-2 brilliantly. It's Kent left hand side, pulls it back, blocked by Cadden. Corner. Much better though from Ryan Kent.
Yeah, it is. But the final ball again, Liam. All the surrounding things are great. But all he needs to do is smash that low and hard right across the face of David Marshall. Defenders are going there. Morelos is in there. It's an own goal, but he tries to pick someone out. It's really difficult to do when there's so many bodies. Just smash it hard and low.
Tom gave us the stats before the game: goals scored and assists, and it's a prime example. He gets into fabulous areas because he's changing direction, his skill, his ball control. But that key moment in a game which defines a top quality players, where does it go when it leaves your foot? Too often it's going to an opponent.
Poor corner from Taverniers, booted away at the near post by Nisbet. Rangers will come again though on that right hand side. Sands looking for Morelos. They want him in the middle. Morelos looks up, long ball, looking for Sakala, flicked away from Sakala by Cadden. Devine will pick up the scraps down with the corner flag on this near side. Less than 5 of the first half to go. 2-1 Hibs. Kamara with a little pirouette inside the box. Back to Sakala. Chops onto the left, back onto the right. Shots blocked. Breaks to Lundstrom. Lundstrom's going to wind one up here. He shoots and Marshall holds on confidently and comfortably. 41st minute of the game. Rangers 1, Hibs 2.
Hibs need that half-time whistle. They're looking really tired. McGuinness looking tired, looking leggy.
I tell you who will be running on fumes, and I can't see him making the distance, is Kevin Nisbet. He's playing up there on his own at times. He's a terrific impact to the game, but he's been asked to do a lot of shift himself, as is Ewan and McGuinness in that wide area.
Rangers in possession here with Tillman. Short ball to his left for Kamara, out to this near side touchline for Sakala. He takes his eye off it and it goes out under his boot for a Hibs throw-in on this near side, and that's brilliant from a Hibs point of view.
Doesn't want the ball, Bushiri. Look, switch it the other side, out to your goalkeeper now the other side.
They can't hear you, John.
I know, calmness. He needs to be calm.
Here come Hibs with Campbell. He's going to knock it through here. Ellie Ewan's in behind Lundstrom. Ewan's in for a third. It's saved by McGregor. But really, Ellie Ewan should have been putting Hibs into a 3-1 lead there. What an opportunity it was. Rangers riding their luck on that occasion. Rangers 1, Hibs 2 remains the scoreline. But Hibs really should have opened up a 2-goal lead there.
I mean, it was a superb through ball. I think it was Josh Campbell. Again, a good penetrating run.
I wasn't sure. I think it was Nisbet that played it, John, yeah.
Terrific pass. Johan's made the penetrating run. Again, in behind the central defender. 1v1 and the keeper. Unfortunately, he's hit it straight at the goalkeeper.
Well, how big a moment's that going to be come the end of this match? Long ball for Rangers up towards Sakala. David Marshall gets onto it though. It stays Rangers 1, Hibs 2. What an opportunity for Ellie Ewan there, Neil.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a brilliant run. I know John's saying about Bashiri taking it, but the little clip up from Campbell has been really effective just off the front. Gets a flick into Nisbet, and Ewan makes a great run on the shoulder of Lundstrom. Those two guys who are playing almost as auxiliary centre-backs have had a tough night already tonight.
They lack that power in there. They're not winning clean headers.
I just think it's the awareness of a centre-back. I speak about Portis going in as a holding midfielder, John. It's a different game. A holding midfielder going to centre-back, it's a different game. On the ball is good, not a problem, because you can see things that are better passers than centre-backs, but it's the defensive side of the game, being aware of runners on shoulders.
John Lundstrom has it on the halfway line. Short ball to his left for Kamara. The final couple of minutes plus whatever Nick Walsh adds on at the end. Here's Devine wide on the left, level with the Hibs 18. Back to Kent. Kent now so very tight. He's just run into Nisbet, who's back doing a defensive duty there. as he slips it forward, looking for Campbell, who's going through the gears. Backtracking's Jack, though, he does well. Goes back to his goalkeeper. McGregor plays it short to Lundstrom, and now with Ryan Jack, plays it forward to Kamara, to Lundstrom, to Devine on this near side. Infield for Kamara, heading towards the final minute of the regulation 45 in this first half at Ibrox. 2-1 to Hibs. Jack's pass is poor. Straight to Cadden. The Rangers fans are at the end of their tether here.
Yeah, the right side of the pitch is wide open. I mean, there must be 40,000 shouting get it wide, because Johan squeezed right over this side, so that whole side for Tavernier's vacant.
It's with Glenn Kamara over on that right, midway inside Hibs territory. Short ball to the right for Tavernier. This first half's flown by.
I mean, it's been a brilliant 44 minutes. We're into the 45th minute. The effort these two guys have put in has been incredible on a really cold night.
Kent stabbing it back to Lundstrom. Lundstrom at pace, moving forward. He's got Devine to his left. Hibs standing their grounds right now. There will be a spot of injury time, because the fourth official has the board in his hands down below us, Chris Graham, and we'll find out what that is in just a few seconds' time. Minute perhaps being added on at the end of this first half, which has belonged to Hibs. They lead 2-1, and it came in a pretty bonkers 8-minute spell as 4 minutes are added on at the end here, and it will be David Marshall to take. Of course, there was the incident with the supporters early on in proceedings, so we're into the first of 4 added on at the end of the first half. Hibs leading 2-1, long from Marshall, headed clear up towards halfway. Kent takes it down and finds Sakala. Sakala moving away from Cadden, who gets there before Morelos, who's well, he's pushed Cadden to the ground down below us, Morelos.
Naughty Morelos.
And you can't, you might not get away with that before VAR was here. You certainly don't get away with that with VAR. And remember, Morelos was sent off against Hibs in Easter Road earlier this season.
He's lifting his hands there, right? And I know Cadden's going towards him.
He's being summoned.
It's almost like, get out my face. But it's very, very forceful. Now, is it excessive force?
Surely they can't show this again on the big screens.
This will be
they'll certainly show it at VAR HQ.
It's a minimum booking.
He's getting away with it. I mean, there's nothing there which is. I mean, I thought at least a yellow. Is whether it was excessive force. He's taken him with 2 hands, isn't he, on Cadden? Just get out my space.
Well, if it wanted a red card, it would have been officially reviewed by Alan Muir, who's the VAR, and clearly that isn't happening.
So it wasn't reviewed?
Obviously not. Well, there was no review stoppage, and there was no confirmation on the monitors, the big screens rather, that a review was taking place. So Morelos will be breathing a sigh of relief. Here's Sakala back towards Kent. Kent gets away from his man, shifting it out to the right hand side for Tavernier, approaching the end of second of 4 minutes of injury time. 2-1 Hibs. Here's Jack at the edge of the box. Jack's moving into the box, he shoots, it's high and wide. It's a goal kick to Hibs. It's 2-1 to Hibs as we approach the last knock-ins of this first half at Ibrox.
Yeah, Jack, I don't think he ever believed that he was going to get a shot off there. I think he was looking for the pass for Morelos, but Morelos was almost run into an offside position himself, probably too wide as well to do anything had he been played in. But yeah, it's gone a little bit scrappy. But going back to Morelos, I don't think that it's anywhere near necessary to be lifting your hands. It's just, particularly with VAR, as you said, Liam, it's asking a question of the referee or indeed the VAR officials to have a look at it.
The screens have got blank, which suggests that Sky Sports, who are broadcasting the TV coverage, are looking at it themselves. And here's Morelos from Sakala, right hand side of the box. Morelos deflected wide of the right hand post, and Morelos boots it into the net on the rebound in frustration after it went behind for the corner, because he obviously thinks that's going in if it doesn't take the deflection.
Yeah, I mean, Bashiri was away celebrating, I think, as if he'd scored a goal himself with a block. I think it's Bashiri that gets the block on it, isn't it?
Superb block.
Corner Rangers, right in front of the Hibs fans again. Tavernier to take. Final minute or so of the injury time that was added.
Bashiri's got to keep his arms down.
In comes the corner, it's come off Lundstrom, breaks back the edge of the area. Kamara thought about the first time short, instead he finds Sands, who balloons it high and wide again. Goal kick Hibs, who as it stands, if they win this, we move up to 4th in the Premiership.
Porch is doing well, putting him under pressure, forcing him to play a rush shot. The little things that people don't notice.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's an all or nothing defender, Ryan Porteous, and he's putting his body between goal and ball there regardless, and Sands he does enough just to put Sands off. He's leaning back, and it's never a danger to David Marshall's goal.
There's Nisbet controlling on the chest. It's cleared by Sands. Bushiri with the header. That's the final few seconds elapsing, and it's half-time at Ibrox, and Rangers trail. As you can tell, the Hibs fans salute their players over on that far side in the Govan West corner at Ibrox, because their team lead at half-time after going 16 league games without a victory over Rangers. They are in a fantastic position to pile more misery on this football club here, which has had so much of it both continentally and domestically this season. And Hibs making the dream start 8 minutes in. Ellie Youan's shot tipped over the bar by Alan McGregor at the expense of a corner, which was taken by Newell and bulleted home from the head by Ryan Porteous on 8 minutes. 7 minutes later, Sakala had Rangers level, firing it across the face of goal into the bottom right corner. It was an excellent finish. He then tried to get the Rangers supporters G'd up in celebration as they looked to turn it round completely. But around 53 seconds later, Kevin Nisbet was firing home beautifully up the other end of the pitch and reminding the Hibs fans what they've been missing for the last 10 months. It was an outstanding goal for Hibs, and they restored their lead in double quick time. And if you are telling the truth here, Ellie Youan probably should have made it 3-1 as we edge towards the half-time interval. Rangers have had a couple of efforts. John Lundstrom perhaps most notably forcing a save from David Marshall, and Alfredo Morelos with an effort right at the end of the first half there, deflected wide by Rocky Bushiri. It looked like it was heading in to restore parity in proceedings here at Ibrox. But at half-time, Michael Beale's first match as Rangers manager, competitive match, is in a bit of a sticky wicket right now, because it is Rangers 1, Hibernian 2.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Archie Macpherson is one of Scotland's greatest sports broadcasters.
Join Tom English for the final episode of This Sporting Life with Archie Macpherson.
Archie looks back not just on the football he is best known for, but some of the many other memories from his career, including the Olympic Games.
So I got a phone call in the middle of the night. He said, Ben Johnson has tested positive.
Train spotting.
A man called Danny Boyle, whose name meant absolutely nothing to me at the time.
And that famous Archieism.
Off! Like that, something like that.
This Sporting Life from BBC Radio Scotland. Listen now on BBC Sounds.
Well, Tom English, we gave this one the big build-up tonight. My goodness, it's delivered, isn't it?
It's back with a vengeance.
Oh,
Scottish
wow.
football, the Premiership. It's been brilliant, isn't it? It's been absolutely fantastic. And Hibs have come here. We was wondering what kind of Hibs we were going to see. They've come here to play. They've come here to win. They've attacked. They've had 2 goals. They could and should have had another one with Youan. Josh Campbell has one past the post. Yeah, they've had to weather a bit of pressure, but not many chances for Rangers. You know, you think of all the ball that they've had, but David Marshall hasn't exactly been flinging himself around the goal to keep shots out. He hasn't. So I think it's been a terrific half for Hibs. Absolutely outstanding. Porteous has been really, really good. Defensively, they've been really good. But attitude. Lee Johnson talked about what did you do during the lockdown for World Cup psychology. Well, I wonder how that would look. I can see it now, and it looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, you can absolutely see that. John Collins fighting for every ball, their attitude, their commitment. And Tom mentioned Ryan Porteous there. He has been outstanding.
Yep, he's been terrific. Out of possession, winning balls in the middle of the pitch. Obviously come up with a header on the goal. But I think Rangers have made it easy for him. They've put Kent's in his vicinity, so he knows he's always got somebody to pick up. But Hibs, out of possession, have been nice and compact. When they've won it, they've tried to get penetrating passes, penetrating runs quickly, and it's proved really fruitful. They've had 2 goals, could have scored 4. This is where Michael Beale earns his money as a manager. You walk in at half time, you've got to stay calm, you've got to think, what changes do I have to do to this game to make us more secure at the back and more threatening at the top of the pitch? I think that's an easy one for them. I think they've got to Left back stays, protects his centre halves a little bit more. Kent goes wide, and you get width over the other side. You stretch the Hibs back four and make it difficult for them. Hibs 2 centre halves will be delighted with Kent in the middle of them. Means they can tuck their full backs in, and they've got protection. Hibs don't have pace in 2 centre halves. So try and create space between them, between the centre halves and full backs. You get Rangers get that with Kent hugging the touchline, feeding them the ball and saying one thing to him: drive at the Hibs full back and get to the byline and cut back, and Rangers will score goals.
Yeah, a very early test for the new manager, Neil McCann, no doubt about that. The fans really anxious throughout that first half, making their feelings known as the players were in there at half time. He's got a big job to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've spoken about, everybody said that this is where he becomes the manager instead of the head coach. Of course, tactically, I think he'll tinker a few things. John's offered one option there, but as a manager, he must get in about the players, come up with a tactical plan, and then make sure that message is cemented in. What I would say is that on Saturday against Leverkusen, although it was good and I spoke about it, you have to do the right things, I was looking at the attitude of the players and application. I think the attitude and application of the players is good tonight, but I think the falsehood of what we saw against Leverkusen is very evident, because Leverkusen were miles off it. I mean, they were poor, their application was poor. Rangers played around them, there was lots of space in the game. Tillman getting 2 goals at the weekend, had a field day and looked every inch the player that we thought he could be to start the season. But tonight is different. You're playing against a really competitive side who are well organised. Lee Johnson has spoken about the time with the group has been good. He's sort of manoeuvred at a couple of times, just not much, just little bits, about Josh Campbell sitting on Ryan Jack, because he's the one that's sitting in front of the 2 centre backs in Lundstrom and Sands to try and orchestrate. So he stopped that. Then he moved Johan out and says, right, you deal with Tavernier, because he's their main man. And as John pointed out, Devine will go there, he's willing, but he's not the same quality as a Barisic or a Yilmaz. And what he's getting out here is McGuinness. So they're asking the questions of, is Mick Beale's formation of the 2 up with Kent off, are you going to do enough? Is that going to be enough for us? And how you're performing to break us down? So far, it's not. So I agree with John and I agree with Tom that I think he might tweak a few things, and Mick Beale is a really good coach. He's got a good eye for the game. He will have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the Ryan Porteous header was a bullet header. You could see it from here, John. It just rose unchallenged. And one of the two of you, I can't remember who, said a couple of minutes later that the corner didn't come in. It was cleared, but again, had it come in, he was standing clear again. The Rangers defence not learning the lesson.
Well, one thing, they don't have Colin Golson. What he does, he's dominant in that area.
Yeah.
They don't have a dominant centre half. And what you have in Porteous is a centre half who's got good movement. When the ball's coming in, he's going forward, he's moving, getting away from defenders. And when he jumps with aggression, and he powers the header in, but it comes from a fabulous delivery into a dangerous area.
Porteous, I mean, for me, is the most aggressive man in that team. The most aggressive man in that team. We're watching Big Marv Andrews out there taking a round of applause. He wasn't shy and going attacking things either. But Porteous should be picked up, Kenny. That's a concern. John pointed out that you can't get touch tight with people who used to get a grip of jerseys and push and pull. VR will pick it up, but he didn't have to break free. He was standing there with the freedom of Ibrox, used to head it. And in fact, on my first viewing, it looked as if it came off the top of his head. It wasn't a clean one off the forehead, so he didn't even have to go and meet it square. He had just so much freedom. So they need to address that. That's an old Achilles heel. I think they need to see more from Morelos. I think they need to see more from Tillman. Rangers, their general build-up play has been a little bit static, particularly in the last 10 minutes of the first half, because they had them under the cosh, Hibs. But it's a question that, can Hibs come out and play at that intensity, Kenny, for me? Because they've been excellent. They've been really, their application levels have been through the roof. I said there about Nisbet, he'll be running on empty because he's not played much football at all with that injury. Johan's doing a shift which he's probably not liking out there. McGuinness looks as if he's tiring. This is when Lee Johnson's squad will be asked to get all hands to the pump and see if they can see this result out. But I think what we'll get in the second half guaranteed is more goals.
Yeah,
there is. I mean, I can see Rangers are trying to increase the tempo compared to the Van Bronckhorst period, but they're still a bit huff and puff.
Yeah,
there's still a lack of accuracy. There's an awful lot of energy going into it. Absolutely there is, but I'm not seeing the kind of accuracy and the kind of, you see Ryan Kent getting into brilliant positions, and he's working very, very hard. But you spoke about it, and it's his Achilles heel. the killer instinct when he needs to pull the trigger, do the decisive thing, whether it's shot, or whether it's a pass.
Do you know what he does? Tom, you're right, and do you know what Ryan Kent tries to do all the time? Pick somebody out.
Yeah.
Do you know my job as a wide player when I was growing up? I used to go with bags of balls and I would set mannequins up, and on the run in different areas of the pitch I would just practice hitting them on the run areas. So it wasn't as if everybody used to say to me, oh look, Rod Wallace had a great connection with me, and it was like, oh, you picked me up again, wee man. But it wasn't. It was he knew exactly when positions I was getting in. He was finding areas, and it gives you a better margin for area if you're hitting an error when you're hitting an area rather than a single person who should be getting picked up. So when you're hitting areas, you're asking movement from strikers then to pull away, get across, and sometimes he doesn't identify where is the right place to play across. Like that one example I made. That is begging just to be smashed low and hard straight across the 6-yard box, because defenders are rushing like hell to get goal side of the strikers, and it can come off a shin, a boot, anything. So it's identifying the right areas. You don't need to pick anybody out.
Do you think he needs to be more greedy?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. Maybe
someone should say, right, this season we want 12 goals from you. So go out and be greedy rather than pick somebody out. Just have a go himself.
He had a bit of magic, didn't he, over on the far side, at the far edge of the box area. Fantastic. Fantastic. And then you're looking for that end product, as John pointed out. It's no use if you don't have the end product.
But again, Kenny's trying to pick somebody out with a cutback, and there's so many bodies there. We watched the World Cup semi-final last night, and Morocco was so good, but then they were making cutbacks, and Antoine Griezmann was just picking things up, because when you get into that mode, you're as a defender, you're trying to plug every gap possible, and sometimes it's as a winger is just going smash. Can you deal with that low and hard? Because they're not set for that. They're looking for pick-out jobs.
I mean, the reality is it'd be worth a lot of money if he had an end product, and if he had an end product, he wouldn't be playing here at Ibrox. He'd be playing in the English Premiership. They've bought him, and they've thought he's got terrific pace, good energy, great skill set. Can we add that end product to his game? And every manager or every coach that's worked with him, I'm sure has been saying to him, you've got to get better, your deliveries have got to get better, your decision making's got to get better. But it's the final thing that makes the difference, and at this moment in time his stats tell us as we're watching him, it's just not good enough.
It's the old saying, you know, everybody finds their level, you know, and at his age you find your level. And you know, he came to here for 6 or 7 million from Liverpool. I can't see him, if he does leave here, what level is he going to?
I actually wouldn't give up on him, Tom. I think there's
I think he's got a lot of qualities.
Yeah, and I think there's coaching in that boy. If somebody gets a hold of him and illustrates to him about not having to be so precise, can actually make him a better player, it would just let him. I think it would let him grow a wee bit.
Well, it excites you, it gets you on the end of your seat,
and
then he disappoints you.
I tell you, that pilot's if it's exciting you, Joe.
Guys, well, listen.
To go back to Porteous has now scored 3 goals in his last 10 games. This is okay. I know he's not playing a centre back tonight. He's playing just ahead, but he is a defensive player who can also contribute down the other. He's a rough diamond, Porteous. I've been critical of it at times.
I agree with you, Tom.
But my gosh, he's got so much growth in him.
Should Celtic and Rangers be having a look?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Kenny, I told you a few weeks ago, didn't I? I mean, the Hibs fans will be happy with me, but if they want to cash in and get some cash, these two Glasgow clubs should be absolutely picking up the phone and saying, right, we'll have a go. Don't let this boy go anywhere else. I mean, we'll try and throw our hat in the ring here and keep him in Glasgow. I mean, whether it's Celtic or Rangers, I think he's a class performer, Ryan Porter. He's got his flaws, but he's a good player.
I think he wants to go to England. From reading between the lines, I think he wants to go to England. I think it'll be a difficult sell to the Rangers fans for him to make a move here, but he's a type of player, if they could actually just put the baggage to one side, they would love him.
They'd love that attitude, wouldn't they?
Because he's rough,
he's a winner.
he's tough,
yeah.
He's a wind-up
he's
merchant.
Arrogant, yeah, he doesn't care.
You know, if he's on your side, you love him.
Right, let's talk about an incident that happened right down here in front of us. I was interested to look right across the line at you guys, and you were all thinking initially it could be a red for Morelos, that push on Chris Cadden. Well, it's strange that didn't. I was expecting to see the VAR thing come up for violent conduct and that to at least be looked at, but it passed very, very quickly.
Well, that's what I thought VAR was there for. The referee, I don't think the referee's seen exactly what we've saw. He's lifted his hands and pushed him top of the chest, just below the chin. I don't know how hard it is, but it looked like it was a force. But obviously VAR's looked at it and thought no.
Yeah, initially when I saw it, Tom, I don't know what your opinion is, but Cadden's trying to get himself back in, so he's coming in at a reasonable pace. Morelos is just standing looking at him, thinks you're not coming in here, so he lifts his both hands and hits him. I thought there was a good amount of force to put Cadden down, and I wasn't thinking it was a red card. I still don't think it's a red card, but what I did think right away was VAR will absolutely have a look at this, because there's no need to stick your hands in somebody's chest that high up.
I took a perfect time to make a note. I had my head down in my notebook when this incident happened right in front of me. So
well, someone messaged me to say minimum yellow, but we've not seen any replays of it.
VAR would have had a silent check to see if it was a red card or not, and they've concluded it's not, so play on.
Talk to us about Chris Cadden, Tom. The energy he's down here, but up and down that line. He's a great player.
I'd like to see the kilometres he's covered. Who's just high energy. He's an out ball. He gives Rangers something to think about all of the time. A real team player. He's just really putting in, and he's kind of symbolic of the effort I think that Hibs have put in there. They're working their socks off. I've seen Hibs a number of times this season. I haven't seen them work as hard as this. Maybe the Edinburgh Derby, they really put it in. But tonight they're busting a gut. This is a team who's lost 6 of their last 7 games, and you'd expect them to be lacking in a bit of confidence, but they're not. And the break has done them a power of good. I don't know if it's going to mean that they're going to hold on and win this game, but that first half performance is really good.
Well, we promised an absolute cracker tonight. The first half has absolutely delivered on that. Let's hope for more of the same. Second half commentary, Rangers against Hibs with Neil McCann, John Collins and Liam McLeod.
Thanks, Kenny. The 152nd league meeting between them at Ibrox. Hibs have left here with all the points on 21 occasions out of those 152. It was the 3rd of February 2018, their last one, as the game gets back underway. Hibs doing so in the green and white, going right to left in the second half. Rangers in the blue and white will shoot towards Copeland, as they tend to do in the second half matches here, as that goes out to play for a throw-in. No changes for either team at half-time. Michael Beale resisting the temptation to tweak things, despite the fact his team trails at the start of the second half. As Hibs pick up a free kick on the far side touchline, just a couple of yards from the Govan stand over on that far side, as Hibs attack the Broomloan Road end. The Hibs supporters expectant, sold out away section over on the far side. Newell with the free kick, headed away in the 18-yard line by Morelos. Comes off the head of Sakala, but it's picked up by Chabraya, who moves it forward. It's blocked by Sands, then up into the air from Tillman. Comes off the head of Chabraya again. Centre circle, and Bashiri and Porteous collide. Wasn't as bad as the noises you were hearing from John and Neil in the background.
They've both been there.
I thought it was a clash of heads. It looked like two heads were coming together. Thank goodness it wasn't.
Yeah, that could have been the old front teeth knocked out there for Porteous, because I don't fancy trying to chew off one of Big Bashiri's dreadlocks there at full pelt.
Yeah. Rangers free kick, Tavernier to take. It's McGregor in goal for the hosts. Tavernier, Lundstrom, Sands, Devine, Kamara, Jack, Tillman, Sakala and Kent, Morelos for Hibs. Marshall in goal. Back the 4 there with Cadden, Bashiri, Hanlon, Chabraya, Porteous sitting just in front of them. McGuinness, Neil, Campbell, Ewan and Nisbet. Porteous and Nisbet with the Hibs goal. Sakala with the Rangers one in between. And it is Jack rolling it out to Lundstrom on the near side. Stepping across the halfway line. Long ball with the right foot, looking to try and find Kent. Comes off the head of McGuinness. He's done brilliantly actually to direct that back to David Marshall, who holds on with both gloves. It was John McGinn and Jamie McLaren who scored the goals in Hibs' last victory in the league over Rangers here. Current Motherwell player Sean Goss had brought Rangers level briefly in that one. As I mentioned in the first half, Hibs' last 4 wins over Rangers have all come in Glasgow. They haven't beaten Rangers at Easter Road since April 2016. As Tavernier plays it through, Hanlon just gets there, just gets a toe onto it ahead of Sakala to move it back to Marshall, who's got time to take a touch on the 6-yard line and clear. Flicked on brilliantly there by Josh Campbell. Nisbet goes down, free kick, Hibs, midway inside Rangers territory.
Two great piece of play. First, Josh Campbell, he's got his little timing perfect, flicked it on. Nisbet, exactly what you want to see your centre forward doing, leading on the centre half and buying a nice little simple free kick.
Chebraya caught by Tillman on the near side. Again, I don't think there's much doubt about it, but the frustration from the Rangers supporters is there for all to hear in this case.
Well, this is where a team needs the support to be calm. I think it's one thing that sometimes we lack in Scottish football. The fans get a little bit impatient too early in games and transfer that stress onto the players and the coaches.
The last visiting team that wasn't Celtic to win a league match here was Hamilton Accies in March 2020, albeit St Johnstone did win that Scottish Cup quarter-final on penalties. As Newell takes the free kicks, flicked away there by Tillman, just ahead of Porteous. Porteous was eyeing that one up as well. It's out on the right-hand side for Hibs with Ewan, who wins the corner to the delight of the Hibs fans, who have the best view inside Ibrox of that, I just
love the way Porteous moves in the box. He's that hungry and his desire, he's moving to try and get his head on the end of every cross that comes in. Tillman just got there just in time.
He did, and it's going to be a corner to be taken by Joe Newell on the far side. It's actually good work by Rocky Bashiri down that right-hand side as well. They helped draw the corner as Nick Walsh sorts things out inside the box. Hibs corner. Started the second half well here of the Hibbies. And it's going to be Newell to take. Left-footed in-swinger from that far side as they attack the goal to the left. And it comes off the boot of Tillman, sliced up into the air, and then two Rangers players get caught in a fan call there, and it's still alive with Nisbet, left-hand side of the box. To Campbell, delicate chip ball in, but it's an easy take for McGregor this time as we approach 50 minutes. 2-1 to Hibs. As McGregor launches it forward down this near side. Sakala beaten to it by Chebraya, who plays it infield to Cadden. This has been an excellent Hibs performance. Rangers clearly have not been as they would like to be, particularly here at Ibrox, but Hibs have been excellent, and there haven't been too many occasions in the last couple of seasons where you can describe them as excellent. Obviously, that League Cup semi last season was one of those.
The challenge is always to do it for 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's what they're intending on doing, at least, as Lundstrom picks up for Rangers, moving it short forward along the grass to Kamara inside the Hibs half, back to Lundstrom, who finds Jack in the centre circle. Now it's with Kent, right-footed out to the left-hand side for Adam Devine. His pass forward's cut out by Cadden, who then plays it off Devine, and out it goes for a throw-in to Hibs about level with their own 18-yard line over on the far side. Almost 50 and a half into this. Rangers 1, Hibs 2. As we see a replay of the previous moment. I think it was Kevin Nisbet inside the Rangers box there. I'm not sure if there was an appeal for a check for a handball going on there in the background as Tillman picks up for Rangers and he knocks it out to Morelos on the near side, midway inside the Hibs half. Morelos attacking the Hibs box now. He's at the edge of it, tries to slide it along the 18-yard line. It's blocked by Ewan. Breaks back kindly from Morelos though. Morelos then will move the ball out to the left-hand side for Devine. It was the right choice. Here's Kent, level with the penalty spot. On the left angle of the box now, back to Sakala, takes a touch. His shot's blocked. Spins out to this near side. Bouncing ball, awkward for both Chebraya and Ewan. One back by Tavernier, brilliantly from the Rangers skipper. He's now moving to the box, right-hand side. His ball smashed across, is blocked. Breaks to Kamara. And now it's with Sakala. The quality in the final third just hasn't been good enough for Rangers tonight so far. Here's Kent, left-hand side of the box. Gets the chip ball in, flicked away from Morelos. Now it's Ewan nodding it back the way, sliced by Chebraya, but he's able to head it clear at the second attempt. And out it goes for a Rangers throw-in level with the Hibs 18. 51 and a half on the clock, Rangers 1, Hibs 2.
Chebraya's got to calm down, he's lost his composure the last couple of minutes. Slicing the ball, taking his eye off it, rushing things.
Jack for Sands, everyone but Alan McGregor's in the Hibs half here. Here's Kent rolling it to the left, looking to play it in behind McGuinness, who stood his ground and wins it back for Hibs. Now Hibs looking to come away on a counter-attack here with Chris Cadden down the right. Sands with the challenge, a good one though. And out it goes for a Hibs throw-in over on the far side.
The power on Cadden though, yeah, we were speaking about it there before the second half begun, how important he is with his energy. It was him that cut out the initial pass through from Kent to Devine, and then he's pumping those legs, gets up to the halfway line and just eases the pressure on his Hibs back line.
So chance now for Hibs. Huan getting onto it down this left-hand side, up against Lundstrom, driving into the box, but he shows too much to Lundstrom, who's able to turn it back to McGregor, who clears. You can hear John Collins exasperated with the play of Ellie Huan on that occasion.
He's got to do better. He's got to do better. He makes it easy for Lundstrom.
David Marshall on the edge of his own box, long with the right foot. A bounce right in front of Nisbet, but it's headed clear by Sands, and Kamara decides just to nod it back to his goalkeeper. Michael Beale had some very positive words to say about Glenn Kamara, a player of course Neil McCann knows extremely well from their time together at Dundee. Hasn't been at his best. He was almost in Siberia with Giovanni van Bronckhorst, Kamara, but Beale was saying any Rangers team he puts out there, he'd rather have Glenn Kamara in it than not. He really did flourish under Steven Gerrard here, as Devine picks up on the left. At level with 18 to Kent. Here's Kent now attacking McGuinness. Plays it straight off McGuinness though. Now it's with Kamara. Kamara then will roll it short to Ryan Kent. Kamara again. He's got Devine on the touchline, he plays it short to Kent. Now it's with Devine, left-hand side, level with the penalty spot, left-footed cross comes in. Sakala's header, bulleted, saved by Marshall.
Unbelievable.
And Hibs clear.
Should have scored.
Unbelievable. But there's case in point, but putting balls into good areas. And Sakala, he just bullies it at Chabraya at the back post. It is straight at David Marshall, but lots of power in it. But David Marshall didn't overcommit. He made a really good stop, doing enough to push it away.
Better from Rangers. Better from Kent on that left-hand side, then Devine. Rangers corner to be taken by Tavernier on the main stand side as they attack the goal to the right. Outswinger from Tavernier. In it comes, headed away decisively by Bishiri. Only as far as Tavernier, still wide on the right, gets the right foot cross in. Again, it's headed away by Bishiri. Here's Kent. Now Tavernier, 54 on the clock, 2-1 to Hibs. Tavernier swings it in and it meets the back post, but it goes behind for the goal kick, and it stays Rangers 1, Hibs 2.
Unlike Tavernier, his first cross was terrific, second one
not so good.
Not so good.
Thought I'd help you out a little bit there, John, in case there was another
I just
word.
started looking at I was looking at the screen. Sakala's effort there, what a save.
Yeah, Marshall did well. He's been a fabulous goalkeeper down the years. It's actually incredible when you see the number of caps Marshall, McGregor and Gordon have all managed to accumulate as Scotland internationals. That just shows you the longevity of all three of them. They were all still playing in the Scottish top flight, 20 years on from all their debuts. It's quite incredible.
The quality they have as well. I mean, Big Marsh getting us to the Euros. That penalty stop, I mean, he's been an absolute hero, and he's still doing it tonight for Hibs. That was a super stop from Sakala.
He could quite easily still be in the squad. He's, after the World Cup disappointment, decided to retire. He's a few years younger than Craig Gordon, but
he's been a terrific signing for Hibs.
Yeah.
The best signing of the summer, actually, by far.
Here's Ellie Huan, who's another summer signing, looking to make an impression down the left of the Rangers box. Low ball across, there's nobody in green and white there to pop it home. That was a chance for 3-1, it stays at 2, 55 and a half on the clock.
This is a basketball game. You need to be fit to play in any of these sides on viewing of this tonight. This is just end-to-end stuff.
Here's Morelos. Morelos looks up, scoops it to the left of the box there for Sakala. Sakala's got Devine on the overlap. Devine has it now, move it to the byline. Low ball across is clear. Rangers knocking on the door again here. Trailing 2-1. It's Kamara, low ball into Tillman. Poor touch from Tillman. Bishiri puts it behind for the corner anyway. Tillman gets a bonus corner out of that poor touch.
They look a bit rattled, don't they? They're starting to panic now, Hibs.
Yep.
Slashing at things. Not showing any composure. A brilliant ball from Johan on that breakaway. I want to add, I mean, it's a super ball. Just evaded Nisbet.
Short corner, here's Kent. Gives it back to Tavernier, looks up at the Hibs box, gets the cross in, headed away there by Porteous. He's got a very distinctive heading style, doesn't he, Porteous?
It's John Hughes-esque, that, isn't it? Trying to header it as far as possible.
Here's Kent. Back onto the left, then with the right, he rolls it to the left of the box. Kamara hangs it in, it's flicked behind by Chabraya. Rangers are going to get yet another corner here as they keep the pressure on the Hibs defence.
You can sense something's coming for Rangers.
Yeah, Mick Beale starting to get involved as well. He's trying to get this crowd lifted down beside him.
It doesn't matter what club you're at, you don't want to lose your first game. Rangers losing this game. In comes the corner, it's headed down and in it goes! Really important header by Tillman.
I think Jack gets a touch.
They're right on the goal line just about there. by Ryan Jack, I think, on the final touch. And it's Rangers 2, Hibs 2. A huge goal for Rangers.
I said it was coming, but I didn't think it was coming that quick.
No, I mean, it's a wonderful delivery. It's an outswing at corner which eliminates the goalkeeper. Tillman, very good in there, by the way. He gets a little flick. It's a good flick because it takes it beyond David Marshall. And there's Ryan Jack under an extreme amount of pressure from Paul Hanlon, but strong enough desire just to knock it in from, what is that, all of a yard? I mean, you did feel as if something was coming. There was a renewed energy about Rangers. Hibs are starting to rock a wee bit and get slashing in the clearances, John.
Tired, giving the ball away too easily. They've got to get a hold of the ball now, Hibs. Important 5-10 minutes. Bring some calmness back into their play.
It's Ryan Jack's first goal since the Scottish Cup final last season, which was from way out. This one was about as close as you can get to the goal line. And he prodded it home after Tillman's expert flick towards him. He made it easy for Jack. And this has been anything but easy for Rangers tonight. This season's been anything but easy for Rangers. Well, they're back on terms for a second time this evening. But they can ill afford to even draw this game. They can ill afford to drop points in any game from now on. As Rangers pick up a throw-in on the near side, which Tillman will leave for Tavernier. 2 apiece then at Ibrox, just before the hour mark.
You just knew, Liam, that there was going to be more goals in this, and I don't believe we're finished either.
Yeah, Jack bullied his way to the ball. He wanted it more, and he gets his goal. As Kamara goes down right the edge of the area, left-hand side, Porteous with a rash challenge. Yellow card for Ryan Porteous, and Rangers have a free kick at the left angle of the Hibs penalty area. Hibs are rocking here in Glasgow.
I didn't think it was a yellow card. I think it was just a really good take from Glenn Kamara.
It's a
Porteous wrong side.
Yeah, it's a poor decision from the referee. Kamara stopped, and he doesn't know he's going to stop, and he just bumped into him. Nothing he could do.
James Tavernier territory though.
Yep.
Well, Rangers looking to score a couple of quick fire goals here round about the hour mark to turn this game on its head completely. Tavernier and Kent are over it. It's almost about level with the edge of the D of the Hibs box, perhaps midway between the edge of the D and the 18-yard line. Left-hand side, the inside channel, if you like, just before the left angle of the penalty area. So we've seen Tavernier score from here into the far top right corner. As I say, Kent's with him. Nick Walsh, the referee's ready. We've hit the hour mark, 2 apiece. And Rangers have an opportunity to go in front here. Ibrox holding its breath a little bit. Right-footed Tavernier goes for goal, but it's a comfortable take at his near post this time by Marshall, and it stays Rangers 2, Hibs 2.
Excellent position from Marshall.
Yeah, comfortable save.
Yep.
He gets it up and over the wall, John, but when you've done that many times yourself, but David Marshall's position, as you say, was spot on.
Moved his feet well.
Here come Rangers again. Morelos to Tavernier down the right-hand side for Sakala. Shivaya's going to get there first though. It's back to his goalkeeper, and Marshall clears with the left foot. Josh Campbell's underneath. I haven't seen much of Campbell of late. As Rangers pick up inside their own half with Lundstrom. They've been much better. There's been more zip about Rangers since half-time. Here is Morelos, and then he shifts it out wide right for Tavernier. Tavernier's low ball for Tillman. Tillman to the edge of the area, goes to the ground, bounces straight back up. Hibs clear. Flicked on by Ewan. Here's Kamara out to Jack on this near side. Jack twists it down the line for Morelos, who leaves it for Tavernier. Morelos continues his run. Tavernier looks up at the box, crosses in, headed away by the diving Hanlon, and helped on its way by Ellie Ewan. Nisbet can't get there. It's Kamara winning it back. Here is Sands. All the momentum's with Rangers right now. 61.5 played at 2-2.
Hibs can't keep the ball.
There's Tavernier looking for Tillman, finding Tillman. Great first touch. Tillman rolls into Morelos.
Fantastic goal.
Alfredo Morelos slides onto his knees in front of the Copeland Road end, and Rangers from behind have gone in front in the space of just a few minutes, and it's their go-to man for the best part of 6 or 7 years who gets the goal. Alfredo Morelos with a simple task. Again, Tillman's the set-up man as Morelos scores his 4th of the season, and it's Rangers 3, Hibs 2.
All about Tillman. Excellent run once again in behind. That quick feet shifting from his right to left. lays it on a plate for Morelos, he can't miss. Superb pass from Tavernier as well.
I mean, the temperature's just been raised in here. I know it's a Baltic night, but Rangers have just ramped it up since that last goal from Ryan Jack. There's a lot of good things, John, in that goal. James Tavernier's little slide pass, we are now bending it to take it into the path of Tillman. Tillman, you're right, makes a mind up for James Tavernier, but he keeps the balance. He's under pressure, he's got enough awareness just to slide it into Morelos. Marshall's overcommitted towards the front post, and it's a lovely little tap in from Morelos. It's a brilliant goal, and this game has been turned on its head.
It's 2 goals in 4 minutes.
We said it was coming, the play, the constant pressure. Hibs giving the ball straight back to Rangers, wave after wave of attack. Hibs getting tired, concentration levels dropping, spaces arriving, Rangers taking advantage of it. Can Hibs get that composure back?
Yeah, it's Hibs on the ball on the far side, down the right hand touchline for Campbell, where the offside flag was up. So they won't be coming back with a goal as quickly as they did when they restored their lead at 2-1. Hibs, 53 seconds is all it took from Sakala's goal to Kevin Nisbet's return strike. As he comes back from injury, Rangers are going to make a change. Stephen Davis is getting ready down below us.
Liam, we were talking earlier at half time, and we're saying about, Mick Beale needs to do something. This is where he needs to show his mettle. We'll let this develop first and we'll go back to it.
It's not going to develop. Just look at that goal, Neil. No, you're about to talk about more generally, but looking at that third goal, Tavernier, it's a wonderful weighted ball from Alec Tillman. Tavernier's involvement in that might get a little bit lost because Tillman's done brilliantly to set it all up. It's a wonderfully weighted ball. The timing of the run from Tillman was expert.
Yeah, you did right. He made the mind up of Tavernier, and it was a beautifully weighted pass with, as I said, a little bit of bend on it to take it towards the goal. But what I was going to touch on before Sakala comes off here, Mick Beale did change it, he did tinker, he did tweak the system because he recognised that it wasn't quite working. Kent's played more of a left role, Sakala's come to the right, and Tillman's been asked to play in and around Morelos a little bit more. So there's the manager stepping up, there's the coach stepping up and doing both, and the players have performed. That's why they've got themselves back in front in this game.
On comes Dr. Stephen Davis, who's become an honorary doctor in his native homeland because of his record caps haul. And he was honoured by Queen's University in Belfast this week, and he's replaced Fashion Sakala, the uber experienced Davis. Hibs have a problem here. They led 2-1, they were getting deeper and deeper, they were surrendering so much possession, and it was looking more like a Rangers or Celtic home match at that point. And Rangers get their 2 goals, and suddenly Hibs have got a very different challenge on their hands. 65 in, Rangers 3, Hibs 2. Here is Tavernier rolling it to Tillman, and then back to James Tavernier, who plays it to Davis. Davis slipping it to his left there to Sands, pokes it forward to Kamara, back to Sands, and then field to Kent.
It's amazing the difference now.
Yeah,
you see
zipping it, aren't they?
Every Rangers player's wanting the ball, the passes are sharper, Hibs are looking tired, but again, the tempo's lifted, confidence is back in the team.
There's Kent, the overlapping Divine, low ball across, Tillman couldn't quite work it to Morelos, so it's cleared on the byline by Cadden, only as far as Davis. 66 played, Rangers leading by 3-2 in a game they twice trailed in. Short ball by Davis to Jack, and then out wide left to Divine, and then for Jack, infield to Davis. How do you think Adam Divine's been doing tonight?
I think he's been pretty solid out there, considering that he's not a natural left back, he's more akin to playing the right side.
He's on it again, rolls it back towards Kent, cut out this time by McGuinness. Hibs clear, Hibs looking leggy, very tired looking. Performance this in the second half from the visitors, who are going to go to the bench. I think Elias Melkersen is getting ready to come on as Jack looks to play it first time to Tillman. The header from Newell, now it's with Chevraya, who rolls it forward to Eliuan, who's now driving forward. Good challenging by Ryan Jack, who got the equalising goal.
Scottish fans love a good sliding challenge, don't they?
Ryan Jack brings them to their feet.
Yeah, he gets like a cheer there he just did for his goal.
It's back with Paul Hanlon, the Scottish Cup legends at Hibs. Of course, that Cup final in 2016 really did like the blue touch paper to this fixture. They don't like each other very much. As Kent drives forwards, a good challenge by Josh Campbell on the slide, but it's at the expense of a Rangers throw-in. and they're beyond the midway point of the Hibs half over on that far side as we go into the final quarter of this Premiership encounter. Rangers leading by 3-2, and it's going to be a throw-in to be taken by Adam Devine, but not before Hibs make the change, and Kyle McGuinness will be replaced by the young Norwegian Melkersen, John.
Yep, opportunity for the young Norwegian. He hasn't had too much football lately. McGuinness has been out injured a long time, so just precaution, get him off now. He's looking tired, he's done his shift.
Good first half from McGuinness,
Yep,
but you're
good.
right. I mean, there's a whole load of them have faded in the second half.
Yeah, Nesbitt will be coming off soon as well. They've got to protect him as well. He's been out for a long time. He's had a fine game, first game back. He's got his goal.
Might see McCurdy and McGeady fish at some point. 2 now in full time for Hibs. They're all on the bench tonight. As Tillman dinks it into the centre circle here for John Lundstrom. Short ball for Sands. And then he's managed to squeeze it through towards Devine. It took a deflection, breaks back Devine's way, finds Morelos at the edge of the box. Morelos to Tillman at the byline, inside the Hibs penalty area, left-hand side of it. Looking to win at least a corner here off Bashiri. Still it's Tillman, bouncing back up, having gone to the ground. Now he's crawling along the ground as Hibs try to get it away. Here's Kamara picking up for Rangers though. Level with the penalty spot, back to Kent. Thought about the shot with the right foot, instead he drops the shoulder, finds Kamara, back to Kent. Kent inside the area, back for Morelos. It's Davis, it's blocked on the 6-yard line, and Hibs come away with it. It is all Rangers now, they lead 3-2, 69 played. Sports Sound here on BBC Radio Scotland. Extra 810 medium wave online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. We've got all the weekend action to come, and there's plenty of that across the divisions, and we will be live as usual on Saturday. The early kick-off, Aberdeen Celtic, that is a 12:30 kick-off at Pittodrie. Hearts Kilmarnock, Livingston Dundee United, Motherwell St Mirren, Ross County St Johnstone. Championship matches, of course, include Partick Thistle and Morton Queen's Park. Tuesday it's Aberdeen Rangers. Wednesday it's Celtic Livingston. As the clubs who are still to catch up with those matches from that 8th and 9th of September weekend get those matches played before the Christmas period. Here is Devine down the left-hand side. It's the level with the Hibs penalty spot, back to Kamara. Kamara then out wide left for Kent. Kent chopping back onto the right and shooting down the throat of Marshall, who holds on with 20 to play. Rangers 3, Hibs 2.
That's exactly what I want to see from Ryan Kent. Getting it end corner in the box, thinking one thing, a little jink onto his right foot, look for the far post, whip it in, goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think the confidence is increased tenfold with this Rangers side, which is Ryan Jack's goal. You could see the energy coming into the team. It transcended from the stand onto the pitch. Suddenly when they got themselves in front, they've started really believing in themselves and playing at a tempo. I think what they haven't done when they've taken the lead against teams is go and kill them off, John. And I think that's something that Mick Beale will want to introduce into this side, is be a little bit more ruthless. I'm not going to say be a little bit more Celtic, because they would never want to be that, but they want to kill teams off, not keep that 1-goal lead, because once it's 1 goal, they've always got a chance of getting something back on you.
100%, it's always a danger. 1 goal's never enough. I think that's been the strength of Celtic under Ange Postecoglou. They get 1, they want 2, they want 3. They took teams to the sword.
Took 6 past Hibs, didn't they? Lundstrom's gone down. He's looking like he's in a bit of pain here. Hibs will play on. Yuan can't control though. It's gone under his foot, and out for a throw-in on this near side as the Rangers medical team prepare to come on and have a look at John Lundstrom. He does appear to be in a bit of bother here.
He just get
71.5 played, 3-2 Rangers.
Yeah, just get one in the solar plexus there in his stomach. He took a wee elbow. That wasn't a free kick, it was an absolute accident. He run into the Hibs player.
Must be a sore one, because he's tough.
Yeah.
He doesn't go down easy.
Some of the Rangers players coming over to take on some fluids. Michael Beale having a word with his players as well. And whilst it's just 1 goal, Neil, there's always an opportunity, and John, for Hibs to still take something along the M8 tonight.
Yeah, but it will take a degree of risk from Lee Johnson, because it looks like I wouldn't say the spirit's been knocked out of him, but the shape certainly, and maybe the territory has been knocked out of him. At first, even when they went long, Campbell was in touch, Yuhan was pulling into this left channel. That's gone now, and Yuhan looks a shadow of what he was in the first 45 minutes, although he had 1 run with that little cutback. But you can't see Nisbet lasting the course here. There's no chance I think he can last the course, and if you do, you run the risk of maybe another little injury, which you wouldn't want from Lee Johnson. But it will take an element of risk, and that's when maybe Rangers will get more space to go and have that killer goal.
Again, Lee Johnson, he'll be thinking in two minds. If we go for it, we could lose a few goals. But I think 3-2, 0 points, he's got to think.
He's got to go for it.
Yep, 100%.
I mean, it won't reflect well in the games that he's lost. It was at 5 and 6. I'll put another.
No, he's lost 6 and 7.
6 and 7. So it'll be another loss on the board. But this performance in the first half in particular has been very encouraging. He has got players there. He spoke about McGeady being one of them. Young Henderson possibly. He's got energy and a goal threat. So he's got guys that if he wants to shuffle the pack and put on a threat, he can do.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Livingston on Christmas Eve, which is their next match, and Livy have obviously been excellent this season. That's at Easter Road. Then they've got Celtic, and then it's the Derby.
Yeah.
So an informed Livingston, the champions, and then the Derby at Tynecastle.
Oh,
I mean,
massive,
he needs to come through that with. He needs to come through that with what? Do you think 6 points?
Well, listen, we discussed it before. I hope there is no, repercussions if he doesn't win those games. Hopefully he does get time to build what he wants to
back on, by the way. Yeah. There's Nisbet, he's got a little touch. Melkerson gets there ahead of Sands, but it's well played by Ryan Jack. That's brilliantly defended as John Lundstrom comes back onto the pitch. Here's Morelos across halfway, Tillman to his right. Tillman has it now. Morelos looked like he wanted it back there. Tillman decides to check. Low ball to Ryan Jack, back to Tillman. And Tillman has it here, 74 on the clock. Rangers leading 3-2. What a turn by Tillman. He's taken Chabraya right out of the equation. Tillman crosses with the right foot, blocked by Rocky Bashiri. It's a poor header away, and the shot comes in. Snap effort there. And it's held on to by Marshall. Alfredo Morelos was looking to grab a second of the evening. It stays 3-2 to Rangers as we approach the final 15.
Quality play from Tillman, wasn't it?
Yeah, John, I was just about to talk about him because he's got some ability, this guy. Honestly, he's got some ability. See if he can just match that with his application, the desire to get on the ball, work off it, but when it's time to get on the ball, do something, show that skill you have, the ability you have, because I mean he's really enjoying himself now and he's a proper footballer.
Well, you can see he's a confidence player.
Here are Rangers. Morelos with a big switch out to Tavernier on this near side. 75 on the clock now on this bitterly cold evening in Glasgow. Davis with a short ball along the deck to Sands, out to the left for Kamara, back to Sands, and now with Davis. Davis at the edge of the centre circle. It's a clip ball switched out to Tavernier on the near side, and he plays it back to Lundstrom, who seems to be moving freely enough, playing as an auxiliary centre back tonight along with Sands. Now it's Sands up towards halfway. It's interesting, Sands started at right centre back with Lundstrom on the left. They've since swapped to what looks like a more balanced Lundstrom on the right, Sands on the left. Here come Rangers, long ball up towards Tillman. He controlled it beautifully there, the edge of the box, then he rolls it to the left. Here's Devine, he's in here. Briefly he was in as he approached the left angle of the box, got a bit of a nosebleed. Hibs get it away, and as far as Kamara, who finds Tillman. Tillman then dinks it to Tavernier at the right angle of the box. It's an overlap from Jack. Instead he pulls it back to Kamara. His pass forward's cut out though. Now it's with Nisbet. Rolls it to his right for Josh Campbell, who loses it. 14 to play. 3-2 to Rangers. Morelos on the far side pokes it back to Davis. Right-footed ball to the left-hand side of the area for Kent. And then the overlapping Devine, and then it's just wide.
Tillman.
Malik Tillman attacked it the near post, but he puts it past, and it stays on 76.5. Rangers 3, Hibs 2.
Hibs are looking tired every time they win possession. What Rangers are doing very well, they're instantly pressing them again high up the pitch. Hibs can't get out. As soon as they win possession, boom, Rangers players are on them.
Yeah, they're smothering them. I tell you, the legs will be heavy, the lungs will be heavy on these Hibs players. And that's where Lee Johnson needs to ask himself the question, do I need Ryan Porteous in a holding role? Can Yule do that? Can I get another striker onto the pitch or another forward like McGeady can ball carry for me, get me up the pitch at least?
They are going to make a change. Hibs shortly.
You could take a centre half, take Bashiri off, get Ryan Porteous back to centre half and get fresher legs into the middle of the park. That's what I'd be doing.
as Alan McGregor just rolling it out to Lundstrom on the far side. The ball forwards, fallen Kent's way. Kent has it. Now it's Devine down the left-hand side for Morelos. Morelos has it. Over on the far side, infield it comes to Tillman. Cut out though. Now it's Eli Yuan winning it back for the visitors. There's Melkerson looking for Yuan. Blocked by Kamara. In the centre circle, it's Sands winning it back for Rangers. Now Jack back to Davis.
Kamara's been good in this second half, you know.
Yeah.
Controlled a lot, he's screamed a lot. But I tell you who's been a standout, young Devine. You asked me earlier how he's done. I think he's been terrific.
Yeah.
What an engine the boy's got.
He's playing on his weaker side as well, over on that left. Primarily a right back. Scotland under 21 international nowadays as well. And grandson of Sidney Devine, as Neil McCann was pointing out to us early on.
You're welcome, Liam.
Yeah, we had to double check.
I tell you what, I was 78 minutes before you got it in.
Good shout, good
I
shout.
thought you would have said it by now. It's your fun
Always
fact.
give the commentator the stats.
It is John Lundstrom out to this near side for Tavernier. Midway inside the Hibs half. Low ball infield for Jack. Jack finds Kent, lovely touch
brilliant.
away from another one, and then it's classic Ryan Kent situation. He does the first two bits brilliantly and fires it high over the bar. 78.5 played, Rangers 3, Hibs 2, and the boos will ring out for Aidan McGeady's return to top flight Scottish football live. This is his first top flight Scottish football game since the 9th of May 2010 in a game at Tynecastle against Hearts. It's his first appearance at Ibrox since the 28th of February that year, as he comes on to make his league debut finally for Hibs, having played in those League Cup group matches early in the season. He's been injured since then, and Aidan McGeady is back in the Scottish top
Well, he
flight.
brings something different. He's got that skill and ability to go up to somebody 1v1 and take them on. Maybe not got the pace he had in the past, but he's still got the technique.
Here comes Morelos for Rangers though, as they look to score what you would think would be a decisive fourth goal. 3-2 up they are. It's Jack to Tillman looking for Morelos, blocked and cleared. Chabraya, Porteous facing his own goal, finds Hanlon and gets it clear. It's all been so panicky from Hibs in the second half though, as Chabraya slides in on Jack and out he goes for a throw-in. Important for Rangers, you see Kamara and Jack coming back into the Rangers team and playing well. Those are two key players for Rangers, and Giovanni van Bronckhorst didn't really get what the Rangers supporters had got used to seeing from Jack and from Kamara. Okay, Jack scored in the Scottish Cup final, he's had his injury problems, but they are very important players for Michael Beale in the second half of the season, you feel?
Yeah, they will be. I think Kamara under Gio was playing in a position that I don't think is his strong suit. He was playing at times the number 10 under Mick Beale and Steven Gerrard. They played left of a 3. It's where he's operated tonight, and I think you can see the quality that he has.
You know both of them. Did he just not fit in to the team that Giovanni van Bronckhorst was trying to put out there?
Well, I think Ryan Jack has got a lot of quality. He's got steel in his game. He's got power. Kamara is a guy that likes to come onto the game rather than to the game. He's not a 10.
Final 10 minutes. 3-2 to Rangers. Long ball up towards Morelos. Hibs clear through Hanlon. Sliced away. Eventually helped out by Newell. McGeady flicks on. The pass in field goes straight to Kent, and he moves it back to Lundstrom. He's had a good game, Ryan Kent, tonight. Okay, he's had a couple of
I'd love to see him score.
Liam,
Goals, I'd love to see him score or get an assist. I think he's worked so hard.
Funnily enough, his assists haven't been too bad. 26 in the last season and a half for Ryan Kent. Just 2 goals in 50 appearances though, which is something he'll want to remedy. Hibs will hope it's not tonight, because Hibs are still very much in this game. The problem is, John Collins, they've barely been an attacking threat in the second half.
That's been their problem. They haven't been able to get anything in Rangers' half of the pitch. Too often winning at the edge of their box, looking up, there's not enough movement in front of them, and constantly giving it away. But they are being put under pressure by Rangers. Their pressing has been, and the intensity in Rangers' second half performance has been a level up from the first 45 minutes.
Sands for Rangers, out to the left for Devine, midway inside Hibs territory, back to Kamara. Rangers will move 6 points, within 6 points of Celtic at the top of the table. The goal difference disparity currently at 16 though, which takes on the role of an extra point. As Rangers come forward, Devine's cross, it's a comfortable take for David Marshall. There's barely any wriggle room for Rangers, even if they were to win each of their 23 matches that remain, including this one. As McGeady wins it and plays it towards Bushiri, who's brought crashing to the ground by Morelos. and it will be a free kick to Hibs. There hasn't been much chat from anyone back in the studio about the Morelos incident with Chris Cadden in the first half. I'm not sure if you guys managed to get to discuss that at half-time, but it certainly didn't seem to be a talking point immediately, or after the immediate minute or two after it actually happened. As Newell finds Porteous, Morelos getting his goal, he'll feel a whole lot better. Having got his 4th of the season, he'll want to kick on from there. Of course, no Antonio Colak at all in the squad tonight, as Kent picks up for Rangers on the far side and moves it back to Kamara. 83 played, Rangers 3, Hibs 2. Under the lights here at Ibrox. Here's Lundstrom out to Tavernier on this near side. Triple change coming up for Hibs, and the Hibs fans will get to see McCurdy in action, and so too Lewis Stevenson and Ewan Henderson. McCurdy sporting a Travis Bickle mohawk down there.
That's interesting.
Don't see that much these days.
What a pass.
Long ball towards Tillman, blocked by Bushiri.
He must have the smallest shin guards I've ever seen as well, because it's almost, dare I say it, Davy Proven-esque with the socks down at the ankles there.
Yeah, Davy Proven, Maurice Johnston style. As Bushiri gives it away, Rangers have it. Kent to Morelos. Morelos checks his run, looks for support, gets it from Kamara as pass forwards blocked by Newell, picked up by Campbell. What have Hibs got left? Perhaps a triple change will just inject some freshness into it, because Rangers, okay, they're leading, they're playing well in this second half, but they have just sacked their manager, they've not been in great form, and if Hibs can get some ball in the Rangers half and they made the changes, then you never know.
Hounding them, though, Liam. They're hounding them out of possession. Hibs are trying to work to get out, but they're so deep they just can't get out, and
needs to get the substitutions on as quick as possible.
They are very leggy, Hibs. There's Stephen Davis in the centre circle.
The subs are going to need another warm-up. They've been down there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, 84.5 on the clock, just over that now. So just over 5 minutes plus whatever Nick Walsh bolts on to the end of this one. Sands rolls it with the right foot along the deck, out to the left-hand side for Devine, level with the edge of the centre circle, infield to Kent, to Kamara, to Kent. Kent back down the line for Devine. Devine looks up, rolls it to Kamara inside the box, back to Tillman, who leaves it for Jack, who shoots, picked his spot, but it's straight at Marshall, who holds on, his old international colleague. 5 minutes to play of the 90, and it's Rangers 3, Hibs 2.
It's the first chance they've got to get the ball out of play, so they need these 3 guys on. McCurdy looked away absolutely disgusted. Cabrera just didn't knock that out just to get him on.
That was some look from Harry McCurdy down there. He's played 7 times for Hibs already. He's looking though to try and make an impression. He was the deadline day signing to replace Christian Deutsch in the Hibs squad. As Chabraya's long ball forward, it is dreadful, and he's put it straight behind for the goal kick. Shocking. And it stays Rangers 3, Hibs 2.
Such a shocking effort of a
triple
pass
change for both teams. Let's get this out of the road then. Cadden coming off, and he'll be replaced by Stevenson. McCurdy is going to come on to replace Chabraya. Hanlon's come off as well. Henderson comes on. The Rangers changes, we'll see Ben Davis, Scott Wright and Scott Arfield come on, and Adam Devine I think is going to come off. He's, as the guys have been saying, he looks like he's been playing that Rangers team for years. This is his first league appearance of the season. Did play against Queen of the South in the League Cup earlier in the campaign, as Arfield replaces Kamara. And Tillman, who had a big hand in the 2 recent Rangers goals, 2 more recent Rangers goals, and on comes Wright to replace Devine. And those 6 changes all made at the one time, 3 for each side, going into the closing 3 and a bit minutes of the 90, with Rangers leading by 3-2. Will that injection of freshness, John Collins, help Hibs?
Well, it's got to give them energy. Got to try and get the subs in possession of the ball as early as possible. Got to go for it. Got to be brave. Take some chances now.
Header one there by Lewis Stevenson. It's back towards Porteous, who's now moved into centre back beside Bushiri, with Hibs on the ball here. out to the right-hand side for Josh Campbell, who I think can play just about everywhere. Here is Porteous at the edge of his own penalty box to Newell, out first time to Stevenson on the near side. Here's Aidan McGeady, gets it forward there to Yuan towards McGeady. In goes Davis, free kick, yellow card for Stephen Davis for the challenge, and McGeady and Hibs have a free kick here, level with the edge of the centre circle in the Rangers half, an area of the pitch, and I mean the entire Rangers half, where Hibs have barely played any football in the second half. Long ball by Ewan Henderson, headed clear by Ben Davies, back by Newell to Melkerson with his back to goal on the 18-yard line, finds Yuan, chops it back to Henderson, his effort takes a deflection and goes right through to Alan McGregor. 2 minutes of the 90 to play, Rangers 3, Hibs 2. He didn't seem to really believe that he was going to score from that distance, Ewan Henderson. Was he caught in two minds? Is he thinking about the pass there as well?
He was caught in two minds, didn't know if he was going to play it to the back or go for a shot, and then it was like a fast back. I want to see McGeady in possession of the ball. Can they get McGeady the ball at his feet in the final third, see if he's still got the magic?
Lewis Stevenson with a foul on Morelos down below us here. And Adam Devine getting the sponsors home man of the match there.
Yeah, he was excellent, the young fella, wasn't he? I mean, actually, when McCurdy comes on and goes wide right, he looks like a character. Lee Johnson said that he can light the game up, but Rangers have then shuffled their pack and put Ben Davies out there. So should the ball go to McCurdy, but an interesting contest that.
McCurdy signed after a season and a bit at Swindon Town. Began his career at Aston Villa, and he is up there with Melkerson and McGeady. But Rangers leading 3-2 as we go into the final minute of the 90 here at Ibrox. Kent will let that just go out to play for a throw-in on this near side. The first half was excellent, it really was. It was swinging from one end to the other. But when you look at the two halves of football here, Rangers were relatively toothless in the first half, and Hibs have been totally toothless in the second. Rangers have the 3-2 lead and 3 points heading their way, unless Hibs can somehow find a leveller in the stoppage time, because we're heading into that shortly.
We're going to get a Qatar World Cup, 8 minutes.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what's added on at the end. Kent's gone down, and it's going to be a free kick to Hibs and a yellow card for Lewis Stevenson, who's only been on for a couple of minutes. And the fourth official will tell us what the injury time's going to be. And it's 5, and we're into the first of those. Rangers 3, Hibs 2.
We've not had any VAR things tonight to look at, have we?
No, there's been nothing dramatic in that respect.
5 minutes isn't bad then.
There will be things going on in the background, of course, but there was no dramatic pauses or waits of anticipation as Morelos picks up on the near side, dancing around down by the corner flag. Of course, there's still time for one of those interventions, but Rangers playing the game exactly where they want to be playing it right now, deep ensconced inside Hibs territory, and we are in injury time. Rangers know they cannot afford to drop points again this season. That is an awesome challenge that faces them. In all likelihood, can't see Celtic losing 4 matches, because the goal difference advantage is effectively 10 points before this game started. Of course, Rangers can try their best to overhaul that goal difference. They'll try to overhaul the points difference. They could do that in the 3 matches against Celtic. And it's going to be a massively tall order for them as they continue to play the injury time deep inside the Hibs half here. They lead 3-2. And we played a minute and a half of the 5 that was added on. Throw in for Lewis Stevenson. Up the line looking for Melkerson. Tavernier gets his head onto it. McGeady gets a touch and Newell slices it forward. And out it goes for a throw in on this near side to Rangers, who are going to bring on Ravi Matondo in just a moment. Michael Beale is close to a maiden victory as the Rangers manager, having been the number 3 here under Steven Gerrard and Gary McAllister. Having played his part in Rangers winning the title a couple of seasons ago. Morelos is replaced by Matondo. And Michael Beale applauds Morelos, whose goal currently is the winning goal. He was sent off against Hibs earlier in the season. This has been a much better evening for him. And it looks as though Michael Beale is going to join all those Rangers managers since Graham Souness in not losing his first game in charge of the club. So Van Bronckhorst beating Sparta Prague, Gerrard beat the Macedonian Scoopy, Kashinya beat Hamilton, Warburton beat Hibs 6-2, McCoy drew with Hearts, Smith beat Dundee United, Le Guen beat Motherwell, McLeish drew with Motherwell. Well, Advocat and Smith before them also did not lose their opening matches, and Michael Beale is just a couple of minutes away from joining that club, and he'll be relieved about that. But Lee Johnson knows his team still has time. They scored very late in the day at Easter Road in the 2-each draw to salvage a point. Can they do it again here? Josh Campbell, who got that goal, down the line for McCurdy, midway inside the Rangers half to Yuan, back the way to Campbell, 2 to play, Hibs in the ball in the Rangers half. Porteous spreads the play out to McGeady in the near side. Good first touch up against Tavernier, who makes the challenge, and out it goes for a Hibs throw-in. This is level with the Rangers penalty spot. Do they have it in them? Do Hibs have it in them to find an equaliser? It would be quite the smash and grab if they do, given the second half performances of both teams. Newell takes the throw in short to McGeady, lovely turn on Kent, in comes the cross, headed away by Tavernier, it's only half clear and it's sliced wide on the volley by Yuan, and it will go out of play. I think it's gone out for a throw in, has it, down on this near side, down by the corner flag.
Yeah, I tell you, Kent absolutely sells himself. McGeady rolls on, puts a brilliant ball in, and it was James Tavernier towards the back post, had a terrific header.
That's the first time Hibs have been in Rangers' box the second half.
The mentality shift though, John, the last couple of minutes with Rangers just dropping off with the substitutes made has allowed Hibs to get up the pitch.
As ever, when you come here or you go to Celtic Park, you need to get to certain stages in the game. If you lead it, you need to get to around about 65-70 minutes, and then the home team perhaps start to get panicky. At least gives yourself the chance, but Rangers had turned it round by just after the hour mark, as Newell with a long throw into the box. Hibs heading into the last chance saloon here, Rangers clearing that throw-in. We're in the final minute, we're about 30 seconds away actually from the full-time whistle, and it's back inside the Hibs half here with Josh Campbell. He's going to bowl it back to David Marshall. He'll have to go long here. This has to go all the way as far as he can get it. Porteous flicks on in the centre circle. Melkerson can only play it forward to James Sands. He finds Stephen Davis out to the left for Wright. Rangers are going to win this game now, but they're going to get a fourth goal. It's right down the left hand side. He's inside the Hibs box. He's been met though, and it's cleared by Marshall. It's all over, and Rangers have come from behind not once but twice to win this game, and Michael Beale begins with victory. But they were made to work for it after an excellent first half performance by Hibernian, who came here to play, and Ryan Porteous gave them the lead, bulleting the header home on 8 minutes. It was all too easy from a Rangers point of view, but Porteous planted Newell's corner squarely into the net. 7 minutes later, Sakala levelled, Ryan Kent the set-up man. Sakala on the left foot, low finish into the bottom right to make it 1-1. But within 50 odd seconds, Hibs restored their lead through the returning Kevin Nisbet, who hasn't kicked a ball in anger competitively since the end of February this year, as he lashed home into the top right corner. It was an outstanding finish, and it's what Hibs have been missing since he's been out, and it was a brilliantly taken goal, and it was a half-time lead for Hibernian. Rangers turning it round though in a 4-minute period either side of the hour mark. Ryan Jack from Alec Tillman, who was the set-up man for Alfredo Morelos as well, on 62, and that's where the scoring ended. A dramatic first half. The second half, Rangers were much better. They upped the ante, and their manager got a performance out of the team that has been missing quite a lot in recent times, and that will do him the world of good as he looks forward to what he'll hope's a long reign here at Ibrox, as the Hibs players go to their supporters, who are clapping the effort of the men in green and white. But it's 7 defeats in 8 now for Hibernian, who are 5 points off third place, and Aberdeen, who sit there currently, have played 2 games fewer than Edinburgh's green and white, who lose this evening in Glasgow. And it is victory for Beale and for Rangers as the post-Van Bronckhorst era gets underway. It finished Rangers 3, Hibernian 2.
On digital radio.